all of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to, I guess, our telethon. We're going to be chatting up the 2A patch batch today, which is the second to the last day of the project. Do I even have a link to it in here? Probably been a good idea to link to it, right? So we're going to invite everybody who's a participant and welcome anybody who wants to watch, and we'll chat about the project and where it's at and what we'll be doing with the resources that were created and that kind of thing. So obviously it's still got 36 hours to go. I guess it's really got 3 days almost. 36, no, it's not 3 days. That would be eight, that's not a day and a half, I guess. So sometime tomorrow, I guess at midnight, it'll probably end. Pretty decent odds it could still reach the $20,000 goal, which is one of the stretch goals. We can talk about that kind of stuff. And we'll see who all shows up. So I've sent out invites, gave people a heads up that we'd be doing this show today. So we'll see who all is able to fit it into their schedules. And we'll welcome the people that are showing up out there, or while it's here, while it's out there, afternoon. And then we got Night Strike jumped in, or Mike jumped in from GunTube. Thanks for jumping in.
Hey, thanks for the invite.
So, yeah, we're doing pretty decent this year. You were in it last year. What do you remember from last year? We were trying to think about this the other day, and without actually going back to cheat, I don't remember. Did it get funded towards the beginning or towards the end? I don't really remember that.
We didn't have the problem we did this year where it kind of stalled, and then you know, we got over the hump. Last year, I think it was kind of you know, got funded 100% of the way
Right off the bat.
Yeah,
I can remember a lot of the projects and, you know, the pace and everything, but
I mean, we all did videos and whatnot. I haven't done many pushing right, you know, this one because, you know, I'm getting over to COVID-19. So I've seen everybody else, and I've been tagged and I've been liking and sharing as much as I can on social media, though.
Right on. So yeah, last year was the first year of doing it, and I don't really remember. I think I basically just started to do some like math in my head and figured, oh, if we don't start it, we won't finish it in time to get these things in a reasonable time. So we just kind of started it last year. Then this year, the goal was to start the project to get the patches in hand so that everybody has them for the Gun Rights Policy Conference. When we started this thing, there still was going to be a Gun Rights Policy Conference in Florida. So that was sort of the reason for doing it at this time of year. Obviously, this year is a crazy year, but whenever I started paying attention and seeing, you know, when gun rights policy was supposed to be in September, when that thing was coming and the lead time and production times and everything, I started the project, or I attempted to start the project in early June. And instead of just starting the project and then asking people if they wanted to participate, I asked everybody if they wanted to participate first. And what was all set up to start on June 6th or something ended up starting like June 29th or July 4th or something. So it actually, I guess I'm not screen sharing that. It actually was not the best timing, I guess, what I was getting at. Starting it the week before the 4th of July was a dumb move. Like I say, it really should have started in the beginning of June. And I don't know if that would have had an effect or not. You know, having everything end before the 4th of July would have been a different time frame than it is now.
Right.
So I don't know if people would have had more time or not. But anyway, there's no way to know. So part of the project here is just doing it. There's no perfect time for anything. There's no way to know the perfect set of circumstances. Or
yeah, you just got to get out there and do it and see where it ends up, right?
That and I think as far as the project isn't really just to get patches. If I wanted to get patches, I'd go suck up to people who had giant audiences and needed patches, and maybe people that had audiences that appreciate patches or whatever. I would do this. I would do the marketing differently, and I would create patches for people that want them. Instead, I'm cramming patches at people that didn't ask. Nobody really asked. You didn't ask for them. Nobody asked for them. I just figured this is something that I know is non-perishable and easy to ship, something you can leave on a shelf for 6 years and still pull it out, and it's useful if the if the image still works. But it's just a thing. Right? It could have been coins, it could have been hat pins, it could have been any catalyst. The goal, though, is to get something that we can use to work together, something that we can all understand and then pitch in on a project. So that's the big goal. So when I look at it as trying to get 12 Second Amendment organizations together, there's no perfect time. Like I said, there's just no perfect storm for that. So part of it is understanding that there's no perfect time to do it, and sending out invitations and asking people to fit it into their schedules is great. And if I had more influence or more prestige or something, I could probably get people to do that. But that's really not the goal. The goal isn't to do things when it's comfortable and convenient or when it's scheduled, but instead, when we get attacked, it's often when we least expect it, when we're not ready for it, and when we have other better things to do, sometimes critical things to do. So that's part of this, is to have the most comfortable, uncomfortable experience as possible. And I'm not forcing this on anybody. They all had an option to say, no, I don't want to. But they all knew that this wasn't something they asked for, and that it would be asking them to do a little extra work out of nowhere when they didn't expect it, adding it to their schedules. And that's part of the process, honestly. We're not going to get stronger by deciding to work out when we feel like it. You get stronger by working out every single day, right? You get stronger by meeting adversaries at their discretion, and not when you decide to, not when there's an appointment made and you're ready for it. So that's part of the concept, is to just do it and give people an opportunity to have basically a softball version of a I don't want to call it a crisis or a catastrophe or something, but a softball version of something that just gets in the way of your normal schedule. And you can give it as much attention as you want, but it's not obligation. There's no negative to not giving it attention, but it's an opportunity. So that's really a part of it, and something that the participants, people that are watching this thing that are just interested in patches, could probably care less about. But I'm hoping a couple of people understand that that's really the goal here, is to get this 2A community stronger, to address some of the things that we lack. Unity, practice, experience working together. Having a bunch of people that are willing to work together is one thing, and we've had that for a long time, but giving us opportunities to work together is something different. And waiting for catastrophe, waiting for atrocity, and then working together, then it's possible. It's a way to do things, and we've done it that way.
Yeah, but it seems like you're capitalizing on a tragedy or an atrocity or something,
Well, you have to address situations when they're going to bring something to your door. But yeah, you don't have there's no prep, there's no after action. At least there hasn't been. And that's part of it, right? Is when we create the situation, we create a scenario, then we can have some preparation. We can do the job, and then we can look at it afterwards and grow from it. And others who are standing there not involved can gain from this too. That's the project, right? Is to only have 12 people, because at some point it gets unrealistic. 12 people is pretty tough, but 12 people gives us enough to have, I think it worked. But 24 people would have been probably unreasonable. 10 people, maybe would have worked. 8 people might have been too few. I don't know. But anyhow, we'll keep digging. The project is a success this year. Second year is a success, so that's pretty cool. You got the gun tube. Why don't you talk about that for a bit, and then we'll dig in and see who else shows up and see what's going on.
Okay, what would you like me to say about it? Just a synopsis?
You got hundreds of people watching this, maybe thousands of people watching this.
Okay. All right. I started guntube.org as a video sharing and live streaming website to as an alternative to YouTube. I'm not trying to compete with YouTube. I'm just trying to create a place to where we can digitally preserve videos of the Second Amendment that you can't necessarily post on YouTube anymore because of their revolving door policy. So that's what I set GunTube up for. I've got voice services as well with GunTube. So if you don't like using StreamYard, you can use GunTube Chamber to live stream to YouTube as well. Just a little bit of everything. And I'm doing this all by myself. I have no help whatsoever. It's just those that help me on Patreon and my own money. So that's how GunTube is doing, and that's how GunTube runs.
So it's a video hosting platform, and you've been going for 3 years now?
Thereabouts, yes.
So we'll drop a link up there if anybody hasn't seen it before. And by dropping links, we create links on the internet, right? Places that are things that will forever be there as long as YouTube's there, linking back and forth. It's like a spider web. That's what they call it, the World Wide Web. When you create those links, you're creating internet. The internet is it's like saying speech or communication. It's just talking about a whole bunch of stuff. So when you look at the internet, there's no reason to believe that you are experiencing the internet. The internet is when you join and you're on the internet, you are a part of the internet. Understand that. When you do things online, you are either data or you're creating data. So you either are the data, you're tunneling through like the mouse in a maze, or you can help create the maze, right? You can be more than just the data, right? You can do things to interact with it. And one of those is understanding that when you watch something, you have power, you have a voice there. You have the ability to turn things off. So don't let things run that you don't like. You have the power to thumb them up or down on most platforms. You have the power to comment, lots of other tools and things. And each of those platforms that you go to give you some ability like that. You additionally have the ability to create. You can take a hyperlink for this video, for guntube.org, for whatever it is that you might want to promote, and copy and paste that around. Each time you do that, think about, again, a spider web, or think about trying to tie something down or hold something up. Every time you create a link, it's like adding another string that holds that site up, or that pulls that site a little higher, that makes that site a little more tied to the web, more permanent. So
can we get a link to the Indiegogo project out there on the YouTube side? They're asking for it.
That's good, yeah. So as you drive around the internet doing nothing, you're accomplishing nothing. As you drive around the internet and build, you're actually influencing it. You're building something different tomorrow than what existed today. And that's, why am I going to Instagram? That's one of the things that we want to, well, keep in people's mind. I mean, it's not going anywhere. That is the nature of it. But to make people aware of it, maybe, for if they're not familiar with that, or to encourage people to own that. Again, you can run around and have an influence on the internet. The more, let's pick Amazon, or let's pick Yelp, or let's pick Google Maps, let's pick YouTube as a commenter. The more that you interact with the platform that you're on, the larger your account becomes. If you're on Yelp and you're making comments, if you're on Amazon and you're leaving reviews, if you're on Google Maps and you leave reviews, the more that you do that, the database that holds your account grows, and the systems understand that. These robots, these spiders, these computer programs and mechanisms that run the internet, all the same thing. As those see that your size gets bigger, you have more clout. Typically, not every single platform is exactly the same, but for the most part, the more you interact, the more respect that you're going to get online. And realize that the more that you drive around not doing anything online, the less respect you get, the less influence you have, and the more that you're just an indicator, right? A piece of data floating around. So anyway, that's just a concept that is always important to know, and just throwing that out there to fill time, since I kind of threw this link out or the link to join this room out only a couple minutes ago. Mike's the only one that jumped in. So we sent the link out to the Patch Batch. It started out at 10 grand and 26 days or something like that. I think we kind of talked about, I attempted to start this thing in the beginning of June. By the time I asked everybody if they'd want to be involved and got everything situated and everything, we couldn't start it until like July 1st or something, which was about the dumbest time to start it. A few days before the 4th of July, everybody's getting ready for the holiday. So I think we're going to consider maybe the 10th or something. Whenever we first got together as a group, it was already, the campaign was already running and, off and going, but it wasn't, like you said, like last year, it wasn't funded or anything. But then, as everybody got back to work, let's say, or everybody got, their head back in the game, then of course the campaign caught on and whatnot. Anyhow, it started about 20 something days ago. We've got 36 hours left, so it'll end tomorrow night, I guess, depending on what part of the country you're in. And Clover jumped in. We'll give you a chance to introduce yourself right off the bat.
What's up, gentlemen?
Really hear you. Is that just me?
I don't know. Is it?
Nice try.
I hear him just fine.
Okay, it might just be me. I'm on like one computer that's got weak speakers. Go ahead.
No, I just said, what's happening, gentlemen? So.
Yeah, we basically see that up. They basically just started 17 minutes ago. Just moments. I started moments after I sent that email. So we've just been introducing GunTube a little bit, introducing the project a little bit, and the concept of it. But like I say, go ahead and introduce Clover Tack, and take as much time as you want. Obviously, we got all day.
Yeah, I mean, you deemed me as a cheerleader, so yes, I guess I'm a cheerleader. No, I mean, I do content, a wide variety. I mean, my Firearms Friday podcast really kind of says it all when it talks about the industry and the community, because I do play all sides of it, from product reviews to interviewing some 2A people to a lot of different things. I mean, and it's probably bad for search and YouTube and a lot of other things. That's probably one of my downfalls, is I haven't niched down into, I just deal with 2A, or I just deal with tactical, or I just deal with revolvers or whatever. But it is what it is, because I enjoy all of it, and enjoy the communication. So one thing I've really enjoyed with the Patch Batch this year is, and I'm in an interesting position this year, because this is the second year that I've been blessed to be in it. So, with a lot of the new people that are new for this year's Patch Batch, I've been able to work with them and answer questions and, that sort of thing, and actually be a cheerleader. So, I don't know if that was a joke, G, when you put that in there, or what you meant by that. I haven't ever asked, but it made sense. At first I kind of wondered, and then now it kind of makes sense. It's like, well, kind of being one of the veterans, if you will, of a Patch Batch, it affords me the opportunity to be able to explain to people that we can make this happen, because we made it happen last year, and how awesome the project ended up being, and just all the different aspects, being inside the loop last year. So I don't know if you'd call that cheerleading or not, but
what we're talking about is on the project here. If you scroll down on the main page, the story or whatever, there's the area for participants and that, and then I stuck Clover in here down the bottom, because I figured he doesn't have much of an ego, because it might be at the bottom, and then I put cheerleader in here. I didn't think of that as joke or nothing. I figure somebody like a manager, somebody like even like a coach or something, like somebody who's got a financial interest in you is exploiting you. Like, they have an interest in you succeeding because they want something out of it. They got something to gain. Whereas I figure a cheerleader was not meant to be derogatory. That's someone who honestly cares and just wants you to win, and wants other people to understand that you're doing something. right? So that you're there to help others understand what's happening and to focus on the important things. You know, someone who's not an expert might not realize that it takes a heck of a lot of effort for Mike to get up every day and work on a platform that he doesn't reap profits from, right? And if it's difficult for someone to even realize that they're doing something that might not be understood. So by having somebody who has insight and a genuine interest in seeing other people succeed, that's why I put cheerleader in there. So you didn't get blessed to be in this. I mean, you could decide however you want, but the reason you're in it this year, the reason Mike is in it this year, and the reason Tony's in it this year is because you guys last year put the most effort into the project and not what you're going to get out of the project and not that kind of thing, but more the guts of the project, which is getting a bunch of people to work together behind the scenes to understand how the 2A can work and not just simply rinse and repeat what has worked. You know, what somebody came to the table with 20 years ago and did over and over again. Somehow it's still working, like to indoctrinate people into that. Instead, let's focus on what can be done and what is being done and what works and what's good for the community. And then again, like trying to get the word out. I don't know if that's the best word for it, but yeah, it wasn't meant to be a joke or anything. It was meant to be I don't know, just a descriptor of, like you say, you do something a little different than other people do. So description of what you actually do or offer to the community. To the group.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that at first it threw me off, but I kind of embraced it. But yeah, I mean, I stay fairly positive with things. You know, I don't like to placate to a lot of the drama that goes on, and I don't like to, placate to, just we're always very beaten over the head with this or that. You know, I try to appeal to the silver lining on things. So, that kind of fits too. You don't have the whole concept of a cheerleader is cheer, right? It's not gloom leader, it's the cheerleader. So,
and it's not BSer, and it's not like,
right.
They're not there to feed you any line. They're not profiting. They're just really trying to explain and have fun. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so without that, so we were kind of chatting a bit about the pace of last year versus the pace of this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you got anything to add there. Otherwise, we can start chatting maybe about what the results will be. For one thing, I was noticing last year, I think we had, I forget now, you looked the other day, it was like 220 something, maybe
220, 228, 226.
Yeah, it wasn't quite 250. So this year we've got quite a few more, at least 100 more, and who knows how far it'll go. So right off the bat, that means a couple of things. For me, I'm looking at it where, this is how many patches I got to buy plus 100. So, so for like everybody, they're all getting 357 patches, plus let's just say it'll get to 400. So that's like 500 patches each now, which is neat because it gets us to a price break, right? There's, when you buy stuff, there's price breaks sometimes. So in this case, I think there's one around 500. But that's great. You get a price break because of the quantity, but now 500 instead of 200 is 2.5 times or double and a half times the weight. And we're talking shipping is a big chunk of this. So as I see this number go up, I start seeing shipping rates go up to a point where it gets crazy again. Trying to estimate all this. I think one of the reasons you don't see, I'm sure one of the reasons you don't see anybody else trying to do anything like this is 100% risk. Like there's nothing here that's a known value. This is a whole bunch of variables that if I was trying to make profit or even not lose money, like this would be very difficult. I'm playing it way too close, right? So when I'm looking at this, I'm like, wow, this is going to be interesting. Last year, pretty sure I cut really close to the line, if not over. I'm intentionally not looking so that I don't influence my attitude towards this year. But yeah, this is going to be definitely a lot of new data. Let's put it that way. There'll be a lot of new data. But otherwise, I'm looking at it where that's 100 extra people. That's a lot of people involved in the project. So just if you look at it where, how many people are interested in 2A? Like how many people are interested in doing stuff? These are people that are not really interested, but they're willing to throw $50 at something. Now they might be a fan of Liberty Doll or Jared and not I wouldn't say Jared, maybe Liberty Doll, where they might be coming at it from libertarian something, or the idea of having an awesome weekly summary of the news, right, with attitude and fun, or who knows where they got lead to the thing, but they may not be 100%, focused on 2A or whatever. So I think there's a lot of potential there. We've got hundreds of people here, 100 more than last year, that we have a different relationship with, right? When you have an audience or when you have a reader of a blog or something, you're kind of saying, here's what I think, and you're just throwing it out there. This is totally different. This is a relationship where people threw $50 because they wanted you or your friends to succeed. So I don't know, it's just neat to know that there's that kind of interest.
And there's going to be multiple dynamics. I'm sure that a hefty percentage, or I'm going to say a healthy, let's say, percentage, are people just interested in the patches. And I mean, you've got to appeal to those folks too, if you want, because, who cares who's throwing buckets of water, and you know what I'm saying, out, dipping buckets of water out of the sinking ship, right? It doesn't matter what their motives is. They're, at the end of the day, they're keeping it from sinking, right? And that may be a bad analogy, but and that's why I've tried to appeal.
You're not going to be like, come on, you didn't pay for like the top deck. Quit bailing water. Get out of here.
Right. Yeah. And it's it's one of the things where I don't care. I mean, if half of those people are just in it, I mean, that would be disheartening to find out from a they don't care about the 2A perspective, right? I mean, it would be disheartening. But as far as the project succeeding and everything, yeah, I mean, there's not a problem with that, and that's and we're in such a unique, it's such a unique position this year. Is what's weird about the roster on the 2A patch batch and the uniqueness of the patch set. I mean, you've got KD's design, for example. That's freaking gonna be awesome. You know what I mean? And that's not something he come up with to go take the SHOT Show or go take the NRA. That's a part of this patch batch. And then you've got so many first time patches that are part of this patch batch. So it's just an interesting dynamic when you've got the likes of I mentioned the Liberty Doll and Guns and Gadgets. And with both of them, I mean, you're talking hundreds of thousands of subscribers. They've never made a patch. So, here I am, I'm way less subscribers than them. And I've got already 4 different patches I've created or something. So for them to be that big and have never made a patch, I mean, and I think that's one of the drivers that we're seeing. Not that people don't care about 2A, but I think that's honestly one of the drivers that we may be seeing as to why this project's doing what it's doing.
Yeah, and the thing is when the patch is a patch, and some people are going to love them, some people are going to hate them. Who cares? It's the thing, right? It's a widget. It's a catalyst for it could be anything. It could be a shirt, a hat, or a coffee cup, whatever applies to the audience that would be interested in it.
It's
or whatever.
A catalyst for a conversation.
Well, but I'm saying it's if you've never had anything, that's what do you call it, like a thing to offer for a project or for a store, whatever. It gives you that's really the big goal, or the obvious goal, is to give a resource to a project so that they get to see what it's like. I mean, I don't know, you guys have already kind of played with that before, but if no one's ever had 100 things and then that blank slate, that opportunity, it gives them something without having to risk or put their own stuff on the line, like their own money on the line. It gives them an opportunity to experience and to succeed or fail, but without a score, right? Like they're only going to win. Like they can't lose, because the worst they can get is experience from it.
Right.
If it doesn't become a success for them. But anyway, so the other part of that is a lot of things you touched on there. Just to follow through with that is we've got people that have done it now for more than 1 year. And how neat would it be if we tried to get everybody, we get them in the tube, I guess. We get everybody from last year and everybody from this year together. That'd be tough and interesting. Right. But, and then have that sharing, because why not, right? We can do it. The tube can hold 30 people, and it's just really going to be trying to get everybody to get together at the same time. But there's nothing stopping us from doing that and using all the experience, that some people failed miserably last year. Some people succeeded beyond their expectations. And I'm not thinking of anybody in particular. I'm just assuming that must have happened, right? Some spectrum of stuff happened. Mm-hmm. Let the people this year know about that hopefully before they have to make any decisions for what they're going to do.
Right.
Otherwise, let's see. So you dug into a lot of stuff there. I had for a minute up on the screen there. I guess I closed it, so it was a big comment. But Chris is saying what I like most about the project, besides the patches, because everybody knows he's got a sickness, is that it exposed him to organizations and channels he probably wouldn't have seen. So I don't know if he probably wouldn't have seen them, because Clover's had, I think, everybody on there as a guest at some point. But yeah, you might not have found them with a Google recommended search or one of them kind of things. Like without us, like if I don't know, pick two people. If Skip and Mike had never chatted or never linked to each other, I'm guessing if you were watching one or the other and you go on YouTube, they're never going to recommend the other because you're not connected. Now that you're connected, somebody might go to YouTube or GunTube and search around on that channel and be recommended a Skip's Tactical video now because of this interconnection and because so many people are going to jump around between. So that's part of the goal. We're the most three of the people in the patch batch. We're the three that are the most tech. I think we are. And when you rip up the internet and look underneath, just like when you rip up a carpet and look underneath, or rip up a house and look underneath, or rip off a top of a car and look underneath, there's always just some guts in there, some mechanism. And when we're building this stuff, I mean, I don't know. I think about 60% of this is under the skin. Like 60% of this is designed to do things under the view of the humans, but I try to make people aware of that, but there's a heck of a lot of stuff happening under here that's just designed to link people together in ways that we wouldn't have been, to strengthen us, right? Clover talks about building bridges and stuff as humans, like being the person who's interested in this and that, right? And then participating in both this and that, so that there's some tie between the two. Once enough people are there, the entities don't have to know or like or understand or interact at all, right? They can be completely separate, which is what we want. Separate entities doing their own things. But we can become that mortar in between the bricks, or that bridge between the islands, right? We can, as individuals, have that nuance or that interest in two things that we don't require of the things that we're interested in, if that was making sense. So if that's true, the humans are a big part of that, because we're the ones that experience it and are the result, the end recipients of it all. But we don't do it ourselves. We might want to go from this island to that island, but we technically need some rocks and metal to do it. The rocks and metal in this case, the actual bridge, that facilitates us getting across, is all this stuff that we're talking about inside. It's reciprocal links. It is, I don't even want to get into it all, but it's just the idea of creating links between us that are stronger and permanent, that exist in the makeup of the internet, and not just, I guess it's bridges, right? We're literally building connections so that humans can walk across those connections if they feel like it, but no obligation and no time.
It's more like, I watched the thing about the transatlantic telegraph line. And it really got me to thinking. It's more than a bridge for people. That's more the thing. We ran a line across the ocean where communication can happen, right? More than anything, because you're not going to have, if you've got click A and click B, and there's that rift. We always talk about the rift and it's fractured, and blah blah blah. Well, that's not a bad thing. We want individualism. So rifts and fractures and everybody's own little pocket and click is the way it's going to be when you've got that situation. But at the same time, we have to realize that the probability of any one person or clique or group being 100% wrong and having 100% bad ideas is extremely low, if absolute zero. So when you've got one group that doesn't like another group for whatever reason, they don't agree on this, that, or the other, right? But this group over here has some great ideas, and this group A has great ideas, B has great ideas. So when you've got those connections, those bridges, the things we're talking about, that allows the good ideas from A to get to B without A having to bring it to the table because they don't get along or whatever. And that also allows good ideas from B to get to A when, again, the same situation is present, where they might not be communicating directly because, we disagree on so much. We disagree, or in in our community, we disagree on so little, and we get hung up on that little. It's horrible that people will, just write off complete groups or cliques or whatever because of one little idea or something like that they don't agree with, or maybe they don't understand it. There's all it could be a lot of different reasons for that, but yeah, I go back to my original thing. It's more about the flow of information between those islands and stuff, I think, than it is pulling people back and forth. I don't care what clique you're in, and it doesn't make any difference to me what clique you migrate to or whatever. That's your business. But I want to make sure that you're getting, anything that okay, I know your goal as Group A. I know your end game and your goal and what you're trying to accomplish. And you're not talking to Group B over here because you disagree on 2% of things, but Group B's got some good ideas that you could use as Group A to accomplish your goal. So let me bring those to the table over here for Group A, and I don't get immediately shot down because I'm a part of Group B. Are we Quarking G23? He went early if we did.
No, I wasn't paying attention at the time.
Or Rick.
But yeah, we're going to mention that if you're listening to this, the G23 does a Saturday show. I thought I was corking him already because he was out there chatting with somebody, but I jumped the gun. But anyway, go watch their show. I got a link to it out there.
Yeah.
That's not the goal of this, but this is just, we had to do it today. Mainly didn't feel like doing it tomorrow because Sunday seems like a dumb day to try to get a bunch of people together. Plus, Gizzard's already got his show going. He already gets a bunch of people together. But right. For our people right across the country and shit, I figured Saturday was a better day. So you always got to quirk somebody. So G23 got quirked today. No, I agree with you that nobody, and you're not going to get individuals necessarily that are whatever. I guess there's some people that are always going to appreciate similar, what's the word, like cross click type of interests or whatever. But that's I don't know. I guess we're getting off into that area of it. That's hardly even, I don't even know if I've ever even thought about how big a percentage of our awareness, like how big a chunk of the game that even is, like paying attention to not only your own audience, but then what your audience does besides watch your stuff. I guess it's a thing to pay attention to, but I don't know if it's a critical thing or anything.
Well, you make a good point bringing up the audience. So we've got quite a few out there that they, you talk about those bridges and stuff, and a lot of times the audience could be a bridge as well. So, there's something to be said.
We're all audience. We're all audience. I mean, a couple of people do stuff also, but yeah, we're all watching other people's stuff. So that's what I'm thinking is.
Hey, so-and-so did this. Oh, wow, that's a good idea, Yep.
All right, so then going back, I'm going to hit refresh every once in a while, see if other people are jumping on. I have no idea what kind of, what's the word, like what kind of push or what kind of promotion, I guess the word I'm looking for, people might still be doing. I know that there's things going out there, like your interview with Mike yesterday, that someone might just discover, maybe it's a doctor searching for something. They find that and they find out about this, hours before it ends,
Right. Well, I got a feeling that something's going on with that, unfortunately, but it's not just on the YouTube platform; it's elsewhere. So yeah, and I don't know. I'm not going to be conceited and say, I've done my part to raise this by 1% or 2, but I definitely haven't, made huge impacts. So everything I do moving forward, I'll move the needle a little bit, maybe. I can think of some things. There's some, there's some things that some of the players in this, there's still time, and hopefully, people push some things and do some things that could get us. It would be really nice. We're so close at 181%, and I'm guessing the next stretch goal is at 200%, correct?
Oh, I didn't do it like percentages. I just randomly picked numbers out of my butt, but the next one is technically 200%. Yeah, double the money, 20,000. I was kind of talking about this yesterday.
Big this close, that as we are to that next stretch goal, and I think that we need to be pushing that aspect maybe of it. You talk about what we could do the next day with or whatever with promotion. That's add another design, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second. I mean, yeah, that would be a way to talk about it. Another would be just to, get it to the round number or whatever. Yeah, so let's talk about stretch goals. So we got the 10 grand, and again, this is based off of my whatever experience last year, right? So figure, there's each one of these is different. They use a different amount of rubber. They take a different amount of time. And that's the two factors: how long it takes them to make it, and then how much rubber, so how much material is in it, and then how much rubber is in it also is a factor how much it's going to weigh, and that means how much it's going to ship. So, and that's everywhere, shipping to here in Arizona, and then once I get it, shipping it out to everybody. Right. So, I guess let's say, the difference between if we were doing postage stamps, which I guess would be the ideal thing, right? Like sending little tiny pieces of paper, we could ship these out for however much it costs to ship now. Was it 50 cents to ship an envelope now? So that would be not bad. If we were sending lead coins to everybody, it might cost $15 to ship these to everybody, right? So we're right in the middle at like probably $4 or $4.50 even, depending by the time you put 12 patches together.
Yep.
So now you take that. What was I getting at? So we got the. Where are we going? We were talking about stretch goals. So I had to figure out a place to, even start from. Now that I just said that, I'm like, dang, I think I did the whole thing off at $3 and not $4.50. So I might be screwed, but we'll find out. I had to pick a place somewhere. Then we get to the first stretch goal, and here's the deal. Last year we barely reached the goal, so I had no indication, no reason to believe that this year we're going to go crazy above the goal, right? So I figured, okay, we'll put stretch goals in just in case, sort of like. You're going to put barriers on the road, but it's not that curvy a road, so you don't need to put the biggest barriers in, right? So I'll put some stretch goals up there, but I'm not going to spend 50% of my time planning the project on the stretch goals, right? These were almost like afterthought. So I'm like, all right, 12,000 sounds like a spot. We'll get some stickers made. Just understanding how much it costs to make stickers and stuff, like that's a thing, right? And then also trying to remember where the slop was, or where there was unexpected expenses last year, where there was unexpected savings last year, that kind of thing. Unfortunately, there's usually more expenses than savings, right? But still trying to figure it all out. So I wanted to put a stretch goal that was reasonable, not make it like double, right? Anyway, so I just kind of came up with these things on the fly. So 15 was add more patches, because I didn't want to get into the trap, I guess, of just saying, let's add another patch design, because that sounds easy, but yeah, by the time you start shipping another patch and everything, now it's 13 patches. So everybody's shipping goes up, and there's a lot to it. So I said more, because that makes more sense, right? Like if I can give everybody 150 patches for the same price it would have been to bring a 13th project on board, that doesn't move shipping hardly at all, right? That just barely changes 12 shippings. That doesn't change 350 shippings. So anyway, that's where I'm getting into it. And then when I get to 20, I say add more designs. So we've got one that probably Mike Strike doesn't, because he doesn't hang out in the off-air chats enough. But I think which one I might be doing, one I was going to put on here originally and kicked off for Skip. I'll probably put that one back on, but we'll wing it. We had a couple of suggestions during the preliminary or whatever, like while we were trying. Now, we had, we had one organization that I really wanted to be on board, and they told me to F off, like they were jerks about it. And then I had one person that decided not to do it. All right, so we had two that were changed already this year. And so we had to replace the one I didn't expect having to replace. So we replaced the one unexpectedly, and the other one, well, I guess I didn't expect that either. So, but the one I was, I guess, first. So I started replacing that one, and then the second one was kind of a surprise too, right? So
Right.
I don't know how much asking around I did for the replacements because that was a while ago now. But so we do have maybe 2 or 3 like suggestions already, kind of like banked that we were thinking about.
Right.
And then this one that there's art out there that probably already has the other one, but so I don't know. I'm gonna see. So it's not over yet. So counting the eggs before they're hatched or whatever is always a bad idea. But yeah, so I'm not sure what we're gonna do with the 20. I guess here's what I was gonna get at too, and I'm hoping everybody doesn't go like, what? Because of this crazy stretch goal, like I'm out of here. Because there's another way that we could play with this. And I'm trying to be creative with my people too, like the people that manufacture this stuff. But let's say, for instance, let's use Jared, Guns and Gadgets. There's going to be 350 people, or whatever this ends up with. 357 is a cool number, but we really don't want it to stop there, I guess.
Right.
Whatever that number of people is. What if we did like theirs with like a white border? You know, like how there's, when you look at a patch, there's always like a little trench where the sewing connects to the Velcro, and then there's that outside part. Like we could probably change that, or like on Charlie's, how it has a white outside. What if you put like a blue outside, and then the 300 that went to the patch were that color, and then the other 100 that he gets, or if it's 150 at this point, whatever it comes out to, you know, that those are maybe his normal logo. And now there's a difference. Now you own a patch, you got a ding, like you got a special one or something. Now, not everybody's going to do that because I don't have that kind of money. But if a couple of places do that, or if we do that for a couple of things, that gives them some potential, right? It gives them something to do with it.
Right.
But the thing is, that starts costing money. So that's where I don't even know what we're at now. We've got, let's go through it. Tony hasn't given me any art yet, right? No art from Tony yet. We got to get on Tony's butt. Everybody else's art is in, except for Night Strike. We'll talk about that in a second. So, done. Rubber's being made. Done. Wait a minute. I have to send them done, but I forgot to tell them to make rubber.
I thought it was PVC.
Rubber being made. Art being made. Art being made. Some of these I didn't send in because we weren't anywhere near the goal, and I wasn't going to keep getting into a deeper hole and then have to tell my manufacturers, you know what, I'm not going to do any of these, thanks. So I quit giving them art when we weren't moving anymore. So now some of these, all the art's in now, except for Tony and Night Strike. But some of these, the art just barely went in, or has gone in for a couple of days now, but we don't expect it right back. Rubber being made, and rubber being made. So most of these, and then I told them to prioritize Liberty and the DC project. So hopefully we'll see rubber by Sunday, but that's a big ask. Like they don't normally go that fast. I just asked them, hey, if you can do it by Sunday, it would be awesome to see some pictures before Sunday. So anyway, everybody's being made except for Tony. We've got to bug Tony. He's trying to get with, it's not like Tony's lazy. He's trying to get with the guy that made the art in the first place for him and do something kind of neat. So, and again, we didn't ask nobody nothing. We didn't say, hey, when's a good time for your art guy to have to do something for you, right?
So like, his is kind of be a surprise too, then, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, nothing. No, the DC project will look exactly like this. Charlie's will look exactly like this. The Every Second Matters will look like that, I guess. Mm-hmm. And that's it. No, Walk the Talk America kind of looks like that. It looks a little different. But Jared's is a little different. We stretched it. We thought it looked too narrow, so we stretched it a little bit. It'll look a little different than his logo. The CCDL, I think that'll look the same. It'll just have like an outline around it. But Skip's is like more like Charlie's, like it's a rectangle. Liberty Dolls will look like that, I guess. But like you said, KD's is the gun. Yeah. It's the truth. And nobody knows what yours looks like yet, but it don't look like a question mark or like Clover. Nope. And then
did they fix the artwork deal on mine, or do you know?
No, you're messing with me. Yeah, they did. I don't think I bothered showing you because it was just changing those two things, right? So, but And then I tried bugging them about the other thing, and they were like, "What?" And I'm like, "Do this," and they're like, "Huh?" So I was like, "All right, I'm done."
Yeah, forget it.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, if you can't figure it out, I don't want you to like screw up 12 or like do something weird.
Right.
Sometimes it's weird when you talk to different languages. They don't, you know, like I learned. Anyway, it's a whole nother story. It's definitely a whole nother aspect with the language issues.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah. I know. I understand.
So let's see. So now we get to go to Night Strike and his logo. Do you want to share everybody your logo?
You, I don't have it made yet. So
Here's the deal.
We were talking about 3D-izing the current logo, and I think that's probably the best route.
Okay, so now you're embarrassed. You don't even show anybody. So here's the deal. Night Strike has this logo last year, and I tell everybody, "Hey, we're doing this thing again. Whatever you want to do." So here's Night Strike. Oh, I'm going to do this exact logo again. Like, how about no? And then he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll change it." And he changes it to this thing that he's embarrassed to show you. But I was like, "Look, I'll do it. Like, I'm going to do whatever you want. But like, I urge you to ask somebody else first." And I either got to know I'm crazy or he's crazy. But if you want to ignore that one, I'm down with that, and we'll just do what I was talking about. I was just saying, like, is it called a 3D projection where you just squish it? You know, you make it like a 3D looking, like a Minecraft or something, like where it just looks like a block instead of a flat.
Right.
Where do you get a?
The problem is I'm not that great at graphic arts at all. So I really need some help with the logo. So
I thought it was just going to be like a white block with like a pistol and a test tube on it, or
yeah, right.
the gun tube.
Oh, that would be good. Why didn't you do that, dude? I was like, where was he going with that? And now I totally
because I went with the other type of tube, a TV.
Let's do a transistor tube. That would work too, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you got a good logo?
How about a pistol shooting a transistor tube, or transistor tube coming out the barrel of a pistol? That could be kind of neat. People be like,
yeah.
"Oh, crap."
Yeah. Oh well, there's nothing stopping. You know, you don't got to do just a simple ass change. How come I can't find your logo? You having your logo on the internet or something?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, if you need a bigger logo, I can send it to you.
I got it. I gotta go find it off my computer. Look how many clicks I had to make.
Oh, so many clicks.
All right, now we got your logo. What if you just get rid of this, make this red, and then way wider. Put this up like this. What if you just put feet on it like this?
I don't know. I don't think that.
I'll only charge you $200 for that.
It would look better if it had antennae coming out the top too, though.
Oh, look at that. You can take and jam that on that. I just learned the thing. I was trying to throw this layer away. And if I drop, I make a new layer, I use the layer. Shit, I never even knew that was a thing. That's totally cool. So I'm going to now throw away 4 layers. So you're saying, well, what about that, dude? What about doing, I'm just going to do, but what if you just did a gun
antenna.
Shooting antenna, which Clover said, a gun in a tube. What about that? Isn't there some cartoon that uses a gun with a tube sticking off the top? With a green green transistor or something hanging off the top?
I don't know.
This is a gun tube also.
Oh, gun tube, yeah.
How many ways you could play with that, dude?
Technically, a gun barrel is a gun tube.
Yeah, but not as funny as a
cock gun. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, Rick and Morty, I think.
Put a coat hanger as an antenna. There you go.
Oh, this thing. Is this Rick and Morty? I guess that's not that. I thought that was like a transistor.
No.
Oh, it made some kind of steampunk looking thing that was.
That's the Dimension gun.
I don't know. I don't watch that show, but
yeah,
some kind of steampunk looking gun thingy with a.
Hold on, let me go get a coat hanger to put on as an antenna, and I'll send you that image.
This, and then twisty. Got on my mouth.
I'm gonna go grab some lunch. I'll jump back on here in a minute.
All right.
Yeah, so we got links out to the various project participants. We'll see if anybody else jumps in today. But we're going long term today, so I told everybody we'd be on until 6 Eastern. So we'll be here for a bit. All right, so if we move this thing down. What are you getting, like a picture of a coat hanger or something?
Yeah, just get a coat hanger and just put it upside down.
What the hell? Why can't my damn thing go full screen right here? Drives me nuts when software won't let me, pull the middle. I have to go to a freaking corner. All right, so I'm just gonna go grab a coat. All right, so make a new layer, drop it on that layer, and then over here, image trace it. Nope, that could. Nope. Image trace it with low. That's all right. Expand. Ungroup. Group all that together. So what are you talking? Something like just like that? As simple as a real coat hanger hanging off the top?
Yeah, more or less. Make it a bit smaller and just just hide the loop there. Whoa. There we go. I didn't like that.
Where is it at? No. My erasers turned into scissors, I guess. There it is. For stacking, like if you did it this way, if you had a stack of them, it would be weird. And if you had a stack of them like this, they'd stack a little better.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes a difference to the look or what. I don't know how big to make it.
That's about big enough right there.
And then is there a way to what would happen if I did this? Yeah, it's kind of shitty. I don't know, that ain't gonna work because that looks weird. As a picture, it might be funny or something, but I don't think that'll work as a patch. It'll look like some kind of champagne glass, like there's.
Okay.
You try to cartoon the swirl part of the hanger, and then I don't think there's enough commonality. Like this type of hanger is pretty common, but there's just too many types of hangers.
We may have to add regular antennas back to the TV. So.
Well, there's regular antennas like. Well, I can just do this too.
The old school extendables.
Yeah. So then you can go with trying to be realistic, being realistic about it, or like whatever it is, exaggerated, cartoony.
Yeah. because just antenna it might look better.
Oh, I know why, because I'm using something that I'm not used to using. This is what I thought was. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I mean, that would be. I mean, you can do it. It would be a patch or whatever. But like I say, you'd have to really exaggerate them to make them look like an antenna, I think.
Let me come up with something. I might have something. I might have an idea.
But what I'm saying is, I think this would be kind of a weird patch, like this would be just like hanging off weird.
Right.
What would be, Jeff, like little loops or something? Maybe something like that would be more substance to it. But, if you tried to make these things like an antenna for, they become narrow that, they're going to just, I don't want to say they're going to be like antennas, literally sticking off of the patch. And either they're going to get ripped off if people rip it on and off stuff too often. I don't know. And then it's going to take up, you got to make it a little thicker than that, I suppose. But something like that, you know what I'm saying? The patch itself is going to come up and around, and then up like this and down. Seems like a weird patch.
Well, we'll work on this. I'll do a bit more research into this.
Well, how long are you going to research? Because it's about to end tomorrow night. So I was going to suggest some kind of aluminum foil effect for the antennas if you don't do the coat hanger. But the problem is, how do you show aluminum foil? I mean, I think some people would understand what aluminum foil is, right? But it's just going to end up looking like that, right?
Yeah.
And then is that flags now? Like, because it's gonna look like one thing in like a picture. It's gonna look like something else as a cartoon or drawing, and then it's gonna look like something else as rubber, right? And they're gonna end up with some sort of a blob of gray up there, and these would just look like maybe flagpoles, or what I mean? Like I'm just wondering if it's gonna get any point across. Having it set on the VCR or something, makes more sense if you wanted to add something to just the plain TV effect or whatever.
That might be an idea. Put a VCR underneath it.
I mean, that's an idea, but what does it have to do with GunTube at all?
No, that's also a good
point. When Clover dropped that idea of a gun in a test tube, though, I never even thought about that. But you're doing GunTube. Yep. Well, it's obviously
I want to keep a logo that has something to do with what GunTube does. Video. So, TV shows video.
And I cannot. You got a fucking good version of this? I can't get this to turn into a raster. Do you got like a real version, what am I trying to say? Like a vector of that?
I might. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, email me a vector if you could, or put it online. Here's the thing. I don't do this because I don't care, but you should care because you're trying to do something different than I'm doing. You should have like a page up there that has all your logos in different ways, different sizes and shapes, but high quality, low quality, so that you can just offer it to people that want to share or do something with GunTube.
Okay. Yeah, I can do
They used to do that on the big sites. I don't think they do it so much anymore, but, to facilitate people trying to help you out or work with you. It was I think it was also for advertisers and, marketing people. They could just send people to their one page and it would always have the right art. But it was useful for the rest of the internet too. You know what I'm talking about.
That's the largest one I've got. I'll just send you that one.
What's up with that bottle of lube? You got somebody making lube? Or is that a joke?
No. I've gotten some surplus CLP, and I've repackaged it and called it GunTube Lube CLP.
Well, what about a patch of the GunTube Blue? It's nothing to do with nothing.
I don't. It has nothing to do with GunTube. It's just sort of a gimmick to sell.
It's pivoting.
Oh, it's
video hosting, CLP, whatever. Did you email it?
Which email you want me to send it to?
I don't care. It'll go to me. Let's see. Get any ideas? So this is an up. Wait, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Let's see. All right. Good afternoon. So this is an update for the patches. And we're just doing a telethon. Wanted to have an opportunity to do a long format show live and let everybody who's a participant of the project get a link and have an opportunity to jump in and chat. And then anybody who wanted to follow along, of course, has something to listen to. Oh, I guess at some point we're going to be Cork and Rick. So we're probably corking a guy called Rick's Life as I See It out of I got the hiccups, out of Indiana, who does a show every Saturday. Anyhow, we're just an opportunity to chat about the project, and in this case, art for one of the participants, coat hanger participants.
Coat hanger participants.
I'm gonna go up and refresh it and see where we're at. It's cool to be able to refresh it and see it jump like that. So we were at 357 a second ago. It just went up $100. So I'm guessing somebody grabbed this one of the full sets. No, this one of the full sets times 2. Where's that? Oh, yeah, I guess it is this one. So look at that, full set times 2. That's $100. 16 people have grabbed 2 sets. So that's kind of neat. I don't know how many people that had last year's set grabbed 2 so that they could keep one. Oh, there you go. Foss just got it, dude. Is Night Strike still here? Are you awake? Did you fall asleep?
Yes.
Oh, look at this.
GunTube on a laptop.
I just think it should be the GunTube, either the home screen or the logo sitting there on a laptop, and then that's the patch, dude. A laptop, open up with GunTube on. That's the shit right there.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's find a good laptop image to use. That's a great idea, Foss.
Or a phone maybe, but I think the laptop's cooler looking. I don't know, which one of these do you like? It's your logo. I picture like this view. When he said it, I'm picturing like this is what I'm picturing with GunTube on it. But I don't know what you're thinking.
I was thinking more of the frontal view.
Oh no. What do you think?
Like that one in the third row on the right? Go on. That one right there.
This one?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
I don't like this one.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it's okay. It's just that it's too symmetrical or what, right? This one, you look at it and it pops more to me. Like, oh, that's interesting because you got the potential to do a warped perspective on the keyboard right away. That's interesting, and texture. All these little ports would be cool. And then have a perspective view of the GunTube.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I just think it'd be a funner patch or whatever. Then, I mean, this one would be, you know what? Let me show you something. Where did I find it? Dang it, who has it? Somebody did a patch of, what's the name of the ship that Boba Fett drives around in?
Slave One.
Somebody did a Slave One patch. And I was like, oh, that's neat. And then I was like, oh no, that's kind of stupid. If I can find it. Yeah, there it is. Like that just drives me nuts. It's neat, but it looks like an eye or something, like
Well,
this.
that's the front of the ship. That's the front of the ship.
Well, that would be like if it's driving straight at you. But nobody in the right knows what that is. It could be a stingray or something. I'm just saying, like, this angle would have been so much cooler for a look at something like that. I don't know. Just to me, I don't like to look at something straight on. Like that view would have been more interesting. But whatever, that's just me. I just don't like looking at shit straight on because then it looks like a pattern or like I don't know, like a design or something. Here's the thing. Look, I don't even get those over here yet. You guys are all over here saying stuff, and I'm still back on I'm helping. So this is how weak the stream is.
Wow.
On the stream over here. So all right. Anyway, so you down with the angle? So next step would be two-tone or all black? Or all silver, I guess.
Which do you think would pop better?
I don't know. I mean, two-tone probably, but then who owns a two-tone laptop? I don't even think that's a thing. I guess it's real.
I hate to say this, but I think black probably would look better.
I'm going to try to get one that's got, like, I'm going to use this one anyway, just because I like the ports. If you're going to do it, might as well have ports on it.
All right.
I'm just going to copy it. Minimize all that. Got to vote for two-tone. Treat, he gets to look at the patch when he's all done. You can go around that with a big shot. I told Night Strike what to do. I made Night Strike use this patch. So.
Right.
So now there's that. Why is that look weird?
It's small.
Monitor or something. Let's see. So the first step would be to image trace it. So Illustrator creates vectors, and instead of a bunch of dots. So we're going to give it this picture, and we're going to say, what can you do to it? And it's basically going to turn it into a bunch of watercolor. That ain't that good. So now we're going to say, what if we low fidelity? Just in case. It's not too bad. It's not. So I'll just leave it. And paste again. And drop that down to like that. And then lock it. Lock that layer. Go up here and add a couple more layers. Zoom in. We'll just add some lines on top. So keep in mind that, the machine is going to want to do something as far as rounded corners and edges and stuff. But then once it's a patch, like a square corner on a patch, on a Velcro patch at least, isn't a great idea compared to like a rounded corner because of if you have a sharp corner, the Velcro and the threads or whatever can rip a lot easier. So there's a certain amount of like thinking about once it's an actual patch and how people are going to use it. A little bit of the design is that.
Well, I don't mind it if it's a square or a rectangular type patch,
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't really want a square patch unless you want people to have to buy another one at some point. Because as soon as you rip, that's why you only see very few square corner patches anymore. Is because with Velcro at least, is because as you rip them off and on like a patch panel or whatever it is you're screwing them onto, they start to. The threads can't handle the pull or whatever, like the tension or the force or whatever. So they literally rip the threads that hold the Velcro on. And there's like a number of times that you can use them. So because of that, people will do it. And then, well, some people will do it and never have any consequence. So they'll just keep doing it. But people that I guess have patches that get used by others or that get moved around and stuff, like they'll start to get feedback. Your patch fell apart, or I want another one. And if you're selling them, that's when you really see it, because now you got to, either tell people F off, I only build, I only do this, or you start replacing a bunch of patches and you figure out that was a dumb idea. Anyhow, so this one is there's really no sharp edges on it. I was looking at one on the patch panel for the Free Patch Friday thing, which is it was moving it, so I don't know what it is. It has like a T on it, and it looks kind of like a shield with a T on it. I don't know what it is, but I don't even know where it came from. So somebody else might have picked it up at Chat Show or something. Anyway, it's got like I don't know how to describe, like a bunch of pentagon or a bunch of, I don't know, what are the shapes that fit together? The six-sided shapes, I think, fit together. So it's a bunch of those like stop sign shapes that are, I don't know, they're so close together that the lines between them are what create the pattern, but the little stop signs are all that actually exist. Anyway, it's a really neat pattern, and obviously somebody who's designed a patch before and designed it for the final effect, more than just the. I'm sure it looked dumb as a pattern on the art. I don't know if this is working or whatever, but
it's better than what I could do. Because we've all seen what I can do.
The problem is that there's not a space bar. Like it's not true because I'm not putting the functions in and I didn't do some of the stuff over here right.
It just needs to look generic.
No, we can always go into.
People know what a keyboard looks like.
Yeah, but fine. You can make it cool or you can make it dumb. You only make it once. So
okay, all right.
And unless, well, you can't tell if somebody's jumping in, I guess. I was going to say, at least tell me if somebody's jumping in. Because usually when I'm looking way over here, my monitor's massive. I got to basically turn my chair to look at the side of my monitor, this region of my monitor. So I'm not even looking at that other monitor where you people are.
That looks pretty good.
I haven't looked in a couple of days. 2 stretch goals. Yeah, I think we're really going to hit the next stretch goal if
we'll hit it soon.
What happened here?
Can we get the link to the patch out there again?
I don't have it. I don't have it open in front of me here.
Oh, okay.
It's in there. Oh, I got the keyboard. I'll tweak it. I have to go in and look at it again. I don't even think I have it open. Let me grab it. Boom, 18 to 254, 358. Oh, that's where we were before, I think. So, because we were at 357 for a while, we were watching that.
Yeah.
Not a lot of comments, though. So if anybody's out there and wants to leave some comments, please do. This is a platform, and although we're overreached the goals, it won't work for me because it's my project and I'm looking at it. And obviously, I keep looking at it. But when you go to the main page of Indiegogo, it's going to try to appeal to as many people as possible. And the only way the robots can know that is based off of feedback on the individual campaigns. So while we're doing a campaign that's successful, if it's not getting a lot of attention, if it's not getting a lot of participation, I guess is the name, then how would our Patreon, our Indiegogo know to put it on the main page? So something like this little bicycle that they're making that they're so happy about has been on the main page the entire time the project's been going. Like everybody digs that bicycle. So they know that based off all the feedback and interaction it's getting. And that's why they shove it up on the main page. Now there might be something else involved. They might have some interest in one of these beyond whatever. But aside from all that, the stuff that gets put up here is recommended for you. That's the goal. If we can use the platform, if we can help get positive gun stuff out there, we're gun stuff, but we're not gun stuff like, well, we're not anti-gun for sure, but we're not Yahoo-ery or weirdness or anything, right? We're just doing a cool thing and trying to raise awareness for Second Amendment rights and what. Since we're in here, Machine Gun Nest is a shooting range in Maryland, which is like driving distance from D.C., and they started their shooting range as a Indiegogo project. They did that back in. Is it going to tell me the date? Is it going to tell me? It's not going to tell me the date. It was a long time ago. Yeah, it's not even going to tell me. Maybe one of the updates will be dated. Yeah, 2013. So they did this project in 2013. I've been able to visit Machine Gun Nest twice, but that's the power of crowdfunding. How cool would it be if you think there should be a range in your area and you get 6 or 8 people together? You do a crowdfunding thing like that, people all over the country throw a couple of bucks at you, and you get something started. That's pretty neat. I like it. So our goal is to use the platform to have gun stuff out here. And right now you'd have to type in gun to find us. The only reason this stuff's showing up is because these are my projects, right? But on a normal person's Indiegogo, the only way they're going to find gun is if they type in gun and then search for it. And some people will do that. I suppose some of our kind of people will do that, right? And there we are being represented. That's cool. Right next to this 0% funded safe gun magazine lock thing. There you require a bracelet to use your magazine or something. A toupee and a gun, some kind of like movie or something, or independent movie, I guess.
Yeah.
Some kind of graphic novel. Holy shit, this graphic novel's way more than us in funding right now. So let's see, they're doing in demand, which is a different thing, which means they're selling a product, and once it's over, you'll still be able to buy the product from them. So that's interesting. This is, I guess it's a graphic novel, even though they don't tell you about it. Or is it just pictures? Stretch goals? Let's see. No, this is some kind of. Yeah,
it looks like a graphic novel.
Yeah, but it's a mess. Like, all it is a bunch of pictures and shit. Like, I don't know, this might be a bunch of fan base that already knows what the guy's doing, and they just are using this as their functionality. But to say the first brand campaign was a challenge. So yeah, this is something that they've already done, and they're doing the second version. So a lot less explanation and just straight to the what's different about this one type of thing. But look at that. They did. Is this over? Oh, it's over. Yeah, it made it look like it was still funding with the green bar down there. I guess that just means it was funded. But when did this happen? So we're looking at an update. They don't have an update. It's a comment. 3 days ago, 4 days ago. Maybe it just ended. Anyway, look at that, $27,000. Oh, I guess let's look at how many people that was, because that's probably a lot less than 50 bucks. That's probably a lot more people. 524 backers. But really think about it. 500 people out of all the gun owners on the planet, that's not that many. And they raised 27,000 bucks. I guess it was a $50 perk, $25 perk, 25. That's a heck of a lot of $25 though. So that's a majority of $25 contributions that made $30,000, almost $25,000 happen. It's pretty interesting. So I really like the platform. I'd really like to see what would happen if this was just tons of gun stuff. Tons of gun stuff. Here's a guy making muzzle brakes. I make custom muzzle brakes. He wanted to make extend bolt things for different things. That's pretty cool. He only raised 265 bucks. Anyway, I had a lot of fun with the platform and fun in other projects and stuff. So anyway, if you would use the following thing and use their share tools. I'm pretty sure they track when you click these things, and I don't use either of these. I'll sometimes click the Twitter because I have a Twitter account. That's all it takes to do the Twitter, one click. But I don't have a Facebook. I have Facebook, so I don't like using Facebook. So anybody that uses Facebook, if you would share it, that'd be awesome, because I don't. Let's see, gonna go run some errands. Right on. We should be going till 6 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
All right, so oh, I thought that was something else. What is that? Is that Iowa? I don't know. No, I thought that was a pin from something else, but it's some sort of shield with a star and a chief on it, I guess. So I don't know what that is. Unless it's, for some reason I want to say Iowa. Where are we at? We're making this patch for this guy. So anyway, I was asking people to use the share things over there if you want. That's one of the things at this point that could be useful for the long term or whatever. Yeah, these look weird as hell to me, but I guess it's just the way it is. Anyway, so keep going. Put some ports on here.
It looks fine to me.
Yeah, my eyes are just going bleed or something. Is this thing? I hate that when it's on snappy pixel.
That's good.
I have this cord touching my touchpad that keeps glitching.
That's the HDMI port.
Yeah, I was thinking to try to give them at least some semblance. This doesn't make any sense though. So, how many USB ports does this computer have right now?
It's got a lot. It's got a lot.
I don't know if I like that part, but it's on here, so I'm gonna put it on here. I don't like it. That's a bubble underneath. All right, well, this is super quiet and boring, so say still.
Stuff.
Jump in. Let us know. But the idea here is to have a bunch of time to let the participants jump in if they were able and chat about their projects, chat about what they might do with the patches or work on stuff like this, working on the designs and that. And it looks close enough like a laptop for the most part, so we should probably put a trackpad on it.
Yeah, we can't have a laptop without a trackpad.
I mean, I would like it if they did that, but they never do. I kind of like that little rubber thing sticking up out of the keyboard.
Oh yeah, the Lenovo / IBM rubber eraser head.
It would have. I mean, it might not have been perfect, but if they would have developed it, it could have got better.
Yeah, I mean, I like that too. I had a IBM laptop that had one of those at one point, and I liked it. You know, it was better. It was better than the trackpad, but everybody decided to go with the trackpad instead.
I guess they get a little bit better because there's some variety now, but I started out hating them, and I still don't like them, mainly because I don't use them, and it'll basically just the only time they ever come into play is like now when my thumb will hit it and screw up whatever I'm trying to do that has nothing to do with it because I forgot that it's there.
Right.
All right, well, so then now we got to figure out your logo. Did you ever send me a good one?
I sent you a bigger one to your G-Webs email.
Mm.
It's the largest one I've got.
Oh, I guess I can just do this. All right, so now we'll try to image trace that one. Tell me that you're not going to do it. Just do it. No, move that over there. First off, let's save this. Undo. Now we don't worry about ruining it. And now I can take this and put it in its own layer. Zoom in. Try to do a 3-color. Before it was losing the trigger guard and the hammer and stuff.
Right.
So it's complaining that it's too big, that it's going to take too long. So that's usually a good sign for trying to get a good result.
Yeah, I tried to give you the best quality image I had of it. So hopefully that'll work out.
Yeah, you need to, you don't. So what, did you draw this in paint or something? Or in your
I didn't draw it in paint. I used vector art, the free vector art, and I just modified one TV.
Well, all right. So doesn't that thing let you save a vector file?
I don't have the original anymore. That's the problem.
All right. So I don't know why your thing isn't white, is it?
No, that should be black.
I don't know why it did that. Otherwise, it seemed like it did a pretty decent job. It's tweaked. It's not perfect, but I'm going to go ahead
and we can fill that back in, right?
I can change the color of that, but I mean, editing all the curves. I mean, it tweaked some of your curves and it did stuff to your gun probably. Like, it isn't exactly perfect, but it's close. But yeah, now I can. Basically, I took the image and I turned it into a vector, but I used the tool. I didn't do it by hand. I did it with a tool, so it did what it could do, right? So let's see. Oh, here, let me get to this second. So it took your image and then it, used the computer algorithms or whatever to turn it into a vector. And then I said, okay, fine. And I let it complete. So now that it's complete, I'm going to ungroup it because it took all these pieces and put them together as a group so that I could move it without, weird stuff happening like this. So I ungroup it so that I could delete that. We don't want that. And when I ungroup it, now it's easy to just change that to whatever color I want. So that's not a big deal. I don't know why it decided to make that white in the first place. It's just some glitch of the logarithm, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways, I can take that and I can group it back together. What I'll do then is, first off, I'm going to save this file. And now I'm going to go up and take all these other layers and delete them. And now I'm going to save this as just the GunTube logo.
Okay.
And then
I really appreciate you helping with this.
I'll send you this, and now you've got a vector. So when you ungroup this, and you can open this in whatever file, like you can easily turn that orange if you needed to for some project or something, or if you needed to do something.
That'd be cool. That'd be awesome.
So I'll save that for you, and then close this, and then open up the other one again. Onto laptop. All right, so now we'll go back to this, grab that, and
PlaneNet767 is saying at Robbie, treat it like spaghetti, throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. That's pretty much what we're doing right now.
Well, okay, so let's go over here and adjust something. So I don't know what's happening in real time because of this duck is way behind, but it's an interesting project. I pitch a forum I'm part of, but it's local to Indiana mostly. How many people would want an Indiana forum patch? All right, so let's talk about that because this isn't about Night Strike's logo as much as the patch batch. So the patch batch is the second year, right? We did it last year with 12 people, and we're doing it this year with 12 people. This year's a little more successful than last year for lots of reasons, and we're learning. So Night Strike has done it 2 years now, Clover 2 years now, and Tony 2 years now. And that's because these guys are competent and interested. So what we're learning in the process is what worked, for 2 years, what worked 1 year and didn't work the other year, right? We're learning behind the scenes here also. One of the big things that I'm attempting to learn, and one of the reasons I'm doing this whole project is because I've done stuff like this in the past, trying to get Second Amendment organizations to work together. And as much as that sounds cool and it would look good on paper, it's not possible. It's not practical. Otherwise, they would all be working together already. So there's all kinds of attempts. The Gun Rights Policy Conference is one. AmCon, a two-way media project before the Gun Rights Project is another one. So there's been all kinds of efforts to bring people together and get people communicating more effectively. One of the things that's I've been trying since 2015 already really hard is to get state level organizations coordinated. And it's not, again, that's, you know, it's not even an easy thing to say. It's a difficult thing to even to conceptualize, let alone figure out how to actually make it happen. So since it's impossible from the outside, you know, you got to actually either give up or figure out ways to attempt anyway. So that's what I've been doing, and this is an attempt. So now we've worked with Florida Carry and we've worked with Connecticut Citizens Defense League, and we're still not done, right? There's still lots of work to do, let's put it that way. So the reason I'm bringing all this up is I would definitely like to do a 2A patch batch. That's 50 patches, and it would be one patch from each state, right? I don't know if that's practical or what, but I don't think that's a bad idea at all. Keep pushing it. The local forums are what's going to save 2A, right? The local forums is where things like the DC project came from. It takes individuals talking to each other to form ideas, which then get captured and championed, and then some exploitive giant superhero, quote unquote, comes along, sees the good idea that somebody else came up with and runs with it, and then typically either succeeds or fails, right? So nothing comes out of nowhere, and nothing just spontaneously happens to people who are deemed more worthy than anyone else. This is all just collaborative effort from conversation, and people that are interested and able need places to have that conversation, and local state level forums with areas of interest and stuff. That's where Second Amendment comes from and stays secure, and we can lead the way. The Second Amendment community can lead the way for the rest of the communities out there that might not have as fundamental focus as we've got with Second Amendment, right? We're there to protect the first, and that's fundamental for the country, right? So while there's somebody else out there who might not have that dedication in their participants, we can lead the way because we have dedicated, interested people. And if we can, when we figure out how to do what we need to do, others will take it from our example and we'll all win. So anyway, yeah, definitely don't be discouraged in any way, shape, or form. It's like pulling teeth to get advertisers and affiliates to work together. We've had success integrating marketing tricks. And that's one of the things that I've definitely petitioned against, is trying to do Second Amendment-like marketing, because I think that's detrimental. We're doing things differently. Focus like PBS. You're doing something that's more of a community service than a flavor of product. So I hear that can be frustrating. And that's because when you go at a marketing or an advertising level, they want to know what they get in return. If I support your project, what do I get in return? Well, what you get in return is customers. You get people, not the customers walking in the door, but the ability for customers to exist, the legal right for those customers to have property. But anyway, yeah, I hear you. And that's something that as an individual, it's tough. But when we change culture, when we change our community's awareness of this, then we all win. I'll talk about that in a second here. It's your last comment. I'll pitch it to them. I'm a mod there, the largest forum in Indiana. Oh yeah, INGO. I'm a big fan of INGO. So not a member or nothing, but I'm a big fan. Some of the places in the Midwest have had decent, like hardworking, effective websites forever, since the beginning of the internet. Again, that's one of the things that we don't get. We don't appreciate where we are. When you look at the whole internet, most of the internet's a bunch of dinguses farting around and looking at what other people are doing. They watch TV, or they watch video games, or they watch cartoons, and they talk about what in front of them. Gun forums, in the olden days of, now it's being night strike, so we can talk about nuts and bolts of the web. Back in the olden days, in the 80s and the 90s, when the internet was just a bunch of boring text and stuff, What did people talk about? Guns. We talked about guns a lot. And the people that talked about guns created forums. And instead of just talking about the next Star Trek movie, they talked about our rights, and they talked about product, and they talked about laws, and they talked about defending, and they talked about handing things down to the next generations. You don't talk about, how am I going to hand down my Star Trek phaser to the next generations? Because nobody gives a shit. It's inconsequential, right? So yeah, gun stuff on the internet is foundational, and we don't give ourselves enough credit for creating some super interesting things. I suspect if we were able to take a look at YouTube, starting off with kitten videos and kicked in the balls, America's Funniest Home Video crap, when did YouTube start getting serious? It would be interesting to see when the preppers and the gun people and the shops and the industry came on board, how much influence that had in turning it into a more serious, useful, effective platform.
Well, that poses an interesting question. I mean, you've been on YouTube longer than I have. When did you start getting serious with your YouTube videos?
15, when I figured out that this isn't just about sharing our boring general interests, but about maintaining our freedom and hopefully doing that in a way that leads to sets an example. Like I keep trying to say, other realms. But 15 probably, when I went to the gun rights policy conference last time. I was in Phoenix. Anyway, so we kind of got sidetracked there, but I would like to do a two-way patch that's only states, although I suspect it'll take a little momentum. This one was successful because we had individuals who are heavy lifters. Liberty Doll and Guns and Gadgets brought this one up, but that's the tendency, right? You hardly ever get a giant swell of attention to a bunch of individuals. But instead of, having a big swell of attention separately from everybody, we have this big swell of attention, and graciously Liberty Doll and Jared are willing to participate, let everyone participate and be part of the whole thing. So everyone's getting to experience it. So organizations that wouldn't normally have a chance to see what it's like to be part of a $20,000 project are all going to have a taste of that. That would be great to see that happen for the states, but until we can get our shit together and give it a good go, I don't want to fail them. So I'd rather get my shit together so that I can make a good go of it, and then do a two-way patch with just each state. And INGO would be the one for Indiana. I can't think. There's the Indiana State Rifle and Pistol Association. Most every state has one of those, and those will date back to 1906 with the Militia Act of the 06. But there's nothing stopping us from having both involved. And maybe we could go to something besides patches. If we get to stickers or something, then the potential is massive. But anyway, kind of a side topic, but I'm glad you brought it up. Let's see.
Side topics are good to have sometimes.
Well, with telethons for sure. Well, it's a whole other angle of trainers allowed to advertise for free. Many of our advertisers host events for free as a community service, and right on. We have some vendors that host free events such as NFA Day, where people can try shoot full auto. That's cool. Others do free shooting events for women, beginners events, intro to reloading. That'd be cool. Let them know that they got the tube option. So not only can they do those things live, but if somebody wants to show up and record it, they can post that on the tube. All gun stuff is good to go there. And if they wanted to try doing stuff virtually and have like a conversation like we're having here, they can do that on the tube, and then it stays up there permanently so people can come back and watch it later.
Absolutely.
If they were patches, the shape of the state with the logos on them, that would be cool. It would be kind of neat. I don't know how difficult it would be to, it must be somehow possible, to take the states, the shape of the United States and divide it up into patches and stuff. It would take some math or whatever working because of the whole border with the stitching and everything. But except for some of those states, you'd probably have to do New England because of the way that they're all jammed together and tiny. You'd probably have to do them as like a single patch, or at least a chunk of the states back there. But all the decent states out west here, we could all have our own shapes and patches and stuff. That'd be pretty awesome. Some of them would be big enough to have multiple logos on them.
Yeah, I think I have one of the patches you did of the state of Arizona.
Yeah, so that would be neat. And if you made that one, which is about 2 inches by 2 inches, let's say, I'm trying to like see how big that would be. It would fit on a patch panel. I mean, it would be about 2 feet by a foot, maybe. By the time you stuck them all together, it's just that you'd have at least a couple of things that were like all jammed together. Like you could probably have Florida be its own patch, but it would be a goofy looking patch if you kept it to the scale of my Arizona. Texas would be fine, obviously, but
obviously it's Texas.
Some of those small states would not work so good. And obviously Michigan would have to steal a lake. They'd have to claim a lake in order to stick the two pieces together.
Well, anyway, they've done that before.
Oh yeah, they steal lakes all the time. So that's the way they do things. All right, I'm gonna go over and refresh the project. See if we got to 20,000 already. So there's a telethon. You should be singing. If this was Jerry Lewis thing, you'd be singing or dancing or doing something. So we got 360 backers. That's a cool number, but we don't want to keep it there. I guess we'd like to see this number hit 4,000 so that this hits something like 400% over. No, that would be the right math.
That would be fun.
So we got some stretch goals. We're reaching the next stretch goal, which is add more designs. I talked about that with Clover. I'm buying a boat, so there's no way I'm making more designs, right? I'm gonna upgrade the van and I'm gonna buy a boat. But
no, you gotta give us some numbers to design or two. You'll do it. You'll do it.
But then we're gonna get to the 50,000, and then at $50,000, I might add a 13th batch, maybe. And then at 100,000, we were supposed to have a big party at the Gun Rights Policy Conference, but they canceled the Gun Rights Policy Conference. It's only virtual now.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking instead have a big party at the J.M. Davis Firearms Museum just outside of Tulsa. Go there for the Gun Rights Policy Conference, except instead of going to boring Florida that's humid and gross, go to awesome Tulsa, which is awesome and incredible, and then go to the J.M. Davis Museum, which is awesome, and then have a giant party there. A party where they let everybody in and take all the glass off the panels and just let everybody fiddle. Just a fiddle party. You just constantly fiddle for hours.
I don't think they'd let us do that.
Oh yeah, it's just like going to one of those strip bars or whatever. You just throw dollars. So you throw a buck on the peg and you take the gun out and fiddle with it. Go to the next one, throw a buck on the peg, take the gun out and fiddle with it. When we're all done, they just collect all their dollars and everybody's happy. They clean up. Now, once we get to 2 million, we got to repeal the NFA. So that'll be a little bit tougher. There'll be no party. There'll be no patches, but we will have no NFA. So everybody will be happy. But
no, there'll still be patches. It's just, the NFA will be gone.
I ain't making no patches. It's going to take me the entire $2 million to get rid of the NFA. I won't have any money for the patches.
No, you'll have money for patches.
Where's the calculator? Let's see. So if we go with, how many millions was that?
2.
2 million.
I think you might need a little more than 2.
Nope, that's all I need. And then divided by 50, what we do need is 40,000 people to get on board. But 40,000 people, let's get rid of the NFA. All right, also, so I'm going to hit refresh one more time. And we'll go back over. So, no worries. Let's see. So now we'll keep moving with this. We're going to, so now that I've got it as a vector that's decent, there's a couple of things we can do. One of them is this tool over here that I don't use, but I saw somebody use it. What is it?
Was it the snap tool?
It's like it stretches it into what we're talking about as far as like a perspective or whatever, but like with one click.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it was that perspective. It basically just projects it or whatever that's called. Like it makes it thick or whatever, and you can play with it.
Okay.
Blend? No. Column? No. I guess it has to be this perspective. I think that's just some kind of grid thing. Maybe you highlight it. Oh shit! No, Turned into some tool that I don't want. Go back to this tool now. Okay, now I'm back. Let's see. So maybe you select it. And let me see how to. Let's see. Projection. That's what I want right there. So no, not typography. Normally I would jump into a video, but I don't want to get this thing copyrighted. What the hell is it taking so long for? Why are these pages taking so long to load? Ugh. Come on, did you not see the part where it said Illustrator in there? You dumb search engine.
We're at 361.
What?
We're at 361, 18404.
Oh, did it go up again?
It went up again, yeah.
Oh, right on. Oh, that was Robbie, right on.
Yes, Robbie. Thank you, Robbie.
Dang it, there's like one button, and I'm going to have to go look at a video. Hey, maybe it is the for letters only. I'm thinking. There it is. That's what I want. 3D extrude. Where did he click on to get it? Object extent. No. 3D. Oh, you got to expand it first. All right, so I'm gonna go up here and make a copy of this first. So copy, right that layer already. Make a new layer, paste. Now I'm going to expand that. And I don't even know what that is, but you have to do it once in a while. So I did it, and then highlight it again. And what was the effect? 3D extrude. There we go. So we got it in preview. Oh, see what it did? It already did it. Can you see what it's doing?
Yeah. Hey, how about that?
That's what I was thinking about for your patch originally. So I'm going to try fiddling with stuff. How do I make?
Yeah, but put that on that screen and it'll look pretty snazzy.
Oh, you mean extrude it out like that from it?
Yeah, from the laptop screen.
Here we go. Oh shit. Whoa. All right.
Oh,
So
whoa.
that's the dumbest thing ever. It goes from 50 to 2,000. What the hell would you ever want to go to 2,000 if that's 200? So I'm going to try it at like 80. You know,
yeah, that looks cool.
Well, that's too thin still. I was thinking more like a cube, right? So
right.
it would look like the TV or whatever. That's what I was thinking. But that would be too much, just nothing. Like that whole L shape would be just a waste of rubber, basically. So
right.
That would be different, and it would be your logo still. So that's 100%. I just didn't have a good enough image to do it before, but that's I'm gonna say okay.
Save that as a different image, so we have something to look at later.
Yeah. But I was thinking that originally when I was trying to explain it. Like that would be your patch this year, just because it's the same, but it's also different. You know.
That would be cool too. That'd be
Anyway,
cool.
let me go back and do a couple of times. Do expand and 3D extrude, and then I guess do it this way. How do I move this? Oh, I see. Even with my fancy processor, look at how much work this is taking. Wow. If you only do, I'm going to click preview, and it can only do one little piece at a time there. Trying to figure out where that is. That about right for the monitor? No. That's too much. That I think might work. So I'll say click on OK to that. Uh-oh. How do we lose the white back there? Oh shit, that like took the whole thing away. That's weird. I don't use this, so I'm not, maybe I have to group it. No. I don't know why you can't make it smaller. That seems weird.
There it is. You have to group it.
I didn't group it though. Maybe I just went too fast. Because now I'm just, the only thing I'm doing different now is making it smaller, like in increments. Anyway, let's see. Oh, it's still too big. This white thing is like 2 pieces of paper. It's like 11 by 17. So this is still pretty giant of an image here.
Is there any way we can make the laptop screen white?
Yeah, there's no color on it at all. I don't know why it gets to like this point maybe, and then it. I don't know why. I don't know. What happens as you move it too much? No. I don't know how moving it. Can't do it. Pivot. No. I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah,
Anyway,
maybe
so you still want it to like be projecting out like that?
I don't know. What do you think?
I think it looks stupid. It won't work for a patch.
Okay. Well, then don't do it then.
But this, I mean, it might work for an image, right? Like if you spent more time on that and made it like where you're just looking at a laptop, but now GunTube is like pushing out at you, like, you know, like the old video game cartridge. I remember there's like an old video game cartridge thing where like this stuff is flying out of the screen at you.
Right.
You know, like that kind of effect. But for this, we just want to go leave it grouped and then go to transform. I thought there's like a free transform up here. Free distort. That's it. And then just try to make it fit. So that it isn't too crazy, but then it also, you know, fits in there, right?
Right.
But anyway, without the perspective, without the depth or whatever. So now we'll go in and then add another layer here, and fill this stuff in. So that'd be great. Let's see. Nice simple patch. Laptop would be cool, but may be too detailed for a patch. I think that'll look pretty decent. They can go pretty deep.
We're trying to keep it as generic as possible, right?
To some extent, but the laptop, you mean? But not like so undetailed. We could have just done like a wedge or something. Like we still want to have like a keyboard and monitor and like pieces, elements of it. Those aren't going to be too difficult.
Right.
What do you kind of patch or whatever? Patch be able to do the. Which I say they more detail than this thing is.
That looks pretty good. Make that like a rectangular patch, and that'd be just fine, right?
No, it's the shape of the
What?
laptop. Make it the shape of the laptop, that L shape or whatever.
Okay, that works too. I don't care.
What do you want? White space on a patch? Creating white space that could just ship and constantly create for white space, just unless it was necessary for oh shit, we got some here. I didn't even realize. Right, Charlie. I don't know how long you've been in there. I didn't even looking over there.
Hey, what is happening, gents? I just got on. I'm trying to figure it out.
Oh, okay, right on. Yeah, we're going live for a while just to chat about the project and see what other, introduce everybody who jumps in and talk about what we're going to be doing. In this case, we're making up Night Strike's art. So we haven't chatted. Your art is in. Now, I don't know if you've been watching the project kind of develop.
I have seen that it's exceeded its goal, which is incredible.
Yeah, but like as of Tuesday or something, or actually as of Thursday, it had not yet. Like it wasn't even near. It was at like $3,000. So
wow.
Basically, the way it works is, you let's say somebody wanted to get some patches made. You'd have an idea and you send it to the manufacturer, and then they create their version of the art. Like, here's what you want, but here's what our machine can make. There's a difference. So then they show you some art, and then you go, here's this or that or the other. And then once you're happy with it, they create a rubber sample, and you see if the colors are right or if it's the way you wanted it to look or whatever. And then when you're all happy, you pay for it and they make them. And that would be the normal situation. But when we're doing this as crowdfunding, we got the element of, do we even know if this is going to happen? Like, no, right? So we got this like extra element involved. So long story short is I knew some of them we needed to get started. And, I don't mind asking a manufacturer, hey, can you get started on like a couple of these? Mm-hmm. And then at the end, it turns out it doesn't fund. And I have to say, oh, sorry, I'm not going to follow through on that. But that's different. And can I send 12 copies of you to get started? And then at some point say, oh, you know what? My bad. We're not going to use any of those, but thanks for your time, right? I didn't want to burn those bridges. So I sent in a few. And then because I figured, it's not going to fund right off the bat. You got to, risk some. So I sent in a few. But then it was just kind of hanging there for the longest time. And I was like, no, I don't know if I want to keep sending in designs. So that's where I was at with yours and Skip's, where I knew what the design was. You knew what your design was. But I just didn't want to pile them up over there and then have to say, sorry, we're not doing any of them, right? So as soon as I saw that it was not that situation, I sent everybody's art in. It's just that then we got the situation where I sent them all in at the same time, and they can only do so much at once, right? So that's where we're at. I don't think we'll get yours back over the weekend, but more than likely like Monday or Tuesday, we'll get your art back and Skip's and everybody else who I didn't send in all the way at once. And then we'll proceed with all that after the campaign. But yours is already in. I'm assuming, I think we had chatted enough to know that yours is your logo with basically the window and the black and white.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So anyway, Night Strike didn't have one. He waited around. He didn't care. He didn't put that much attention into this. Wasn't interested in him.
I've been getting over the coronavirus.
Oh
man.
So anyway, he never did his patch, so we're doing his right now. And he had an idea. Basically, he was going to take this and add a bunch of brown to it and a squiggle made out of purple. And I was like, what? And he's like, no, that'll look good. I'm like,
but the squiggle, man, the squiggle.
And so instead of using this, we went live and talked about some options, and then he decided to go with this based off of the suggestion of DM Frost out there.
Yeah, DM Faust gave us an idea, and we decided to run with it. So
basically, they had this TV type, the old-fashioned TV logo. As soon as I can get this thing to do what I want it to do, I can do it again. He had this YouTube logo from last year, which is fine. It's just he wanted to barely change it. And I was like, I'll do that. It's just that have some fun with it, like do something different. So that's what we've been doing right now. So if this worked for you, I will. Well, we'll do it after this. We can consider this your patch. I'm saying do it in L shape. It look cool as hell like this. This angle ain't ideal, but it's a big deal. And this angle ain't ideal, but it's not that bad. This would be pretty bad.
No, that'd be pretty cool. No, let's go with that.
Anyway, because that can see the idea. Because your first one was like the logo, and now this one, I'm still going to tweak with it. I'm going to get this to where it's right. It doesn't look right to me.
Okay.
Do that off here. I don't know. So now we got Charlie in here, and I don't think we've been off air a couple of times during the project, but I don't think you've had a chance to go live to tell people about the project. So I'm going to take this as an opportunity to play host, and we've been live now for a couple of hours. For those of you who are watching live or might be watching this in the future, this is a telethon, I guess, a long format live stream to talk about our 2A patch batch. As we just kind of described, this was not a sure thing. It was not funded just hours ago, literally like 48 hours ago. This was not yet funded and was only at 30-something%. Then we had tremendous efforts done by the audiences of a couple of channels who pointed people over to the project and asked them to participate. And just a relatively few number of people in the grand scheme of things, 360 people at this point, have raised almost $20,000. We're right at the brink of raising $20,000. What we're going to do with that money is create patches, rubber, PVC patches, whatever you want to call them, with the Velcro back that you can put on a hat or a coat. You can put them on the headliner of your car, in your safe, on that carpet on the inside of your safe, wherever people like to put them. Some people put a big piece of Velcro or carpet on the wall and have them as a poster almost, or something, a patch panel. So however you want to use them, they're non-perishable, they're easy to ship, they're marketing, so they're useful, and they can be given away to someone. If you give it to somebody and they don't appreciate it, they can hand it off to someone else. It's not something like some of the other things, like a coffee cup or something, where it's difficult to pass it off to somebody or difficult to ship. Anyway, so we picked patches as the catalyst for this whole thing, but our goal is to bring some Second Amendment organizations together and give them an opportunity to work together and share and experience some things together and behind the scenes. And then, of course, to let people be involved in this crowdfunding project where everybody gets together and throws a couple of bucks in, and we accumulate enough funds to do some cool work. So now Charlie jumped out. Here you go. Sounds like you might be in his car. So with all that said, we've got 12 different organizations. We had 12 of them last year. We've got 9 different ones this year. Charlie's one of them. Sounds like you're driving.
Ugh. I think you just asked me if I was driving, and I know I am.
There we go.
And everything is really choppy.
Okay. So, So if you want, I was just explaining the project and stuff. We can hear you loud and clear, though. If you'd like, let us know about your project and anything you want.
Oh, man, it is not much better.
Okay. Am I choppy to you, Nike?
I'm driving, so I don't know if it's the signal I'm getting, but everything's really, really, really choppy, and I'm hearing about every maybe fourth word or so.
Okay, well, for whatever reason, you're not hearing us good, but we're hearing you loud and clear. So if you would take some time, explain your project, and I'll shut up.
If you can hear me, great. I will gladly talk about my stuff. So, writing Shotgun with Charlie is kind of I don't want to say rip-off, but it's certainly from the idea of the car interview show. And I, being a gun instructor and being a gun guy, I just adapted it from comedians in cars getting coffee or carpool karaoke, and said if I could interview people while we're driving around, I would be in the driver's seat. My guests would be passengers, and they would be riding shotgun. And I talked with my mentor. He's like, you got to put your name into stuff. So I looked up riding shotgun, and riding shotgun was taken. So I took riding shotgun with Charlie, and and I like how it sticks. I think it's got a nice ring to it. I had an idea for a logo and ran this by a friend of mine, some friends that do some graphic designing, and had them do some business cards and everything. And it's honestly, it's been working out more incredible than I thought it would. I thought it would just be some little small rinky-dink thing, but I've been able to speak at the Gun Rights Policy Conference for the last 4 years, and I'm going to certainly be participating this year as they do it virtually. It was supposed to be in Orlando, but it's going to be done virtually this year. And I'm excited. I'm actually heading to work on a show tonight to do some editing with a friend of mine, and I'm editing a show with Robin Sandoval from A Girl and a Gun, and she's now one of the new co-hosts with the Polite Society podcast. I interviewed her and a couple of women from a gun while they were up at
It's getting pretty broke up here. Sounds like you were saying though that you had interviewed some ladies from the DC project, and you just got back from Chicago, Wisconsin. Oh,
Yeah, he may be going through an area that has bad internet.
yeah, but yeah, he just was up doing interviews with Rhonda Ezel and Argo J. Argo's up in Wisconsin, just north of Chicago, where Rhonda's at, and he's jumping back in again. And here's the thing, I kind of mentioned this before. I didn't ask anybody if they're ready for this or if it works into their schedules or nothing. So I appreciate everybody who's willing to participate around all the other stuff that they're doing. That's part of the challenge. Give us a try again, Charlie.
All right. I think I can hear you you're less choppy this time.
Right on. You're a little clearer too. So it's probably a new tower or something. New tower or something when you sign back on. Where are you now?
I think it's
Yeah, that's what it's like.
State I'm now. I am this fusion. Waka waka waka. I'm back home. I was in Wisconsin, as I said. I don't know if that came through. I interviewed Argo J.
Oh, it's a good thing he records the shows in the cars and doesn't try to do it privately.
Oh man.
Wherever he's at right now. But
I don't know.
We're just getting a bad lag too, so that's not helping nothing. You're hearing everything after we said it.
I'm sorry. I'm not getting enough.
All right. So Charlie's project, though, is driving around the country, driving around with Second Amendment advocates, the gun community. I'm just kidding.
I just wanted to try to chime in if I could.
Yeah.
And say congratulations on blowing the goal out of the water. I was dumbfounded. I think it was the 17th hard work that you're doing, and congratulate everyone else.
Yeah, right on. Thanks for jumping in, and feel free to jump back in if you get a chance to jump in on a landline or something, or if you're parked someplace. Because we'd definitely like to hear some insight and what you might do with the patches. You've got a different type of project than other people, so different opportunities and part of the fun with the bringing 12 organizations together is to share strategies and experiences. All right, well, we don't have an agenda or nothing, but this is a conversation, so there are 7 people watching at the moment. It's gone up and down. It's kind of fluctuated. Again, this isn't a Jerry Lewis telethon where we've got a whole bunch of entertainment lined up or anything, but we do have links out to the different participants. If you're watching and you got something to contribute, you'd like to participate, let me know. I or Night Strike can send you a link out, and you can jump in. We'll be here for a while still. Planned on doing this. Actually, I'm only planning on doing this for another 40 minutes or so, I guess 3 hours. But we'll see. Like I say, I want to give opportunities for everybody to jump in. I've explained it before, and it didn't work out great with Charlie there, although he tried to jump in. Just bad cell connection, so he wasn't able to be part of the conversation as much. But these organizations didn't plan for this. They got other things going on. This is a crazy year. Everybody's got their own things going on. The DC project should have been meeting and getting a whole bunch of ladies together and getting themselves all to DC and then doing the after action reports from that. So they've had their own plans to deal with and reorganization. On top of that, asked them to be part of something that rhyme or reason is just a burden. Part of it, and part of it is to create an opportunity where you have to stop and or you have an opportunity to stop and pay attention to something that isn't on the schedule, isn't on the agenda, and in this case has no permanent consequence, no negative consequence, but has some potential positive results. So it's a concept thing, and we're developing it. And I guess I just want to bring that this isn't a well choreographed thing that fell apart. This is just another potential. This is just another bridge to give people an opportunity to jump in and participate in this whole thing. All right. Well, with that, we did end up working on Night Strike's thing here. Let's see if I can't get back to. Will it just let me go right back to it? No, not really. I don't know how to edit this once I've done it. What did that do? That just created a thing. Oh, I see. It created that blue thing.
Yeah.
I would need to go back to this layer. Oops. And highlight that. And then maybe go to 3D. No, see, it shoved it right back to the other way. Put preview on it. At least it's the right size still.
Hey, no, right there.
Nah, the bottom was still touching a little bit. That's better. That's better. But you see, this is adding the projection, and I didn't want the projection. So
Okay.
I did the wrong thing. I needed to go back to transform, no, effect, free distort. This will apply another instance. So that means I need to go find this thing that looks like this, find that, and all right, so I highlight that, find this. Weird. All right, and what did I need to do? I needed to pull this down a little bit, is I think all I needed to do. Not out, just down. Yeah, that's all I wanted to do. No, I'm gonna, since I'm here, I'm going to also just stay here. There, that looks a little closer. No, it doesn't. This is certainly weird because you have to touch everything like 3 times in order to get it. It's weird. So I think I need this and this. I screwed it up. I shouldn't have done it. All right, I'm leaving it there. At least the bottom pieces are touching. Huh?
It's not easy, I understand.
Oh, I was just saying, it's not even, yeah, it's got too much of a gap here. I got to figure out how to tweak that layer or tweak that part.
Right.
We go that way and that way. That's closer. I'm keeping it. But
Yeah.
if we go too weird, it won't say gun tube. It'll look like gum woob. So I'm going to leave it like that. It ain't perfect, but I don't think anybody's going to be like, I don't like the perspective on your patches. There's other ones that the perspectives are bad on too. So anyway, so I'm going to hit refresh over here. And we haven't had a chat in 10 minutes. So I'm not convinced anybody else is even out there anymore. We're not going to blame Charlie. We'll just blame Charlie's cell phone reception.
We will blame Charlie's cell phone reception.
So we're at 18,404, 184%. That's kind of neat.
I mean, even that number is awesome right there.
Which one?
The 18,000.
Oh, I thought you meant like an actual number was cool or something. I mean, 357 would be cool. Now we'd have to get to like 454 maybe?
400.
It's not 400 anything. It's a 454. There's a 357, right? And then there isn't any other 30s. I mean, we got to get into 4 digits to get most of the other numbers after this.
No, there's 400 H&H Magnum.
Oh, I might as well have 454. Oh, see, Foss is still out there taking credit for your patch.
Yeah, Foss has 100% credit right there. So.
Well, now we're at the point where it'd be nice if somebody else jumped in because I'd like to keep it on topic and struggling for something to chat about. So if you're in the audience and you want to chat about something,
why don't we recap what the project's about?
Well, I just did that, so instead I'm going to recap who's in it. So this has been a 26-day project, and we've had 12 organizations involved. The biggest one, the future of 2A, is the D.C. project. So that's 50 different women, one from each state. They go to Washington, D.C., and they talk with representatives. They do that in groups of 5. So, in other words, gun-friendly states don't just listen to gun-friendly constituents. So the gun-friendly states' representatives don't just deal with friendly states, and vice versa. The states that are infringed don't only deal with infringement. It's a really cool concept. It's created by Diana Mueller and others. She's a 23-year veteran with the Tulsa Police Department and competitive shooter. So she's completely familiar with firearms and the community in different ways. And she started this years ago now, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I think this is the 4th year. Would have been the 4th year. And it's grown to, obviously she didn't have 50 ladies the first year. I'm efforting to chat with them so that we can start to archive, so I can have it clear for my projects, who the participants were and the growth. But now into the 4th year or whatever, the participants are numerous and they're broadening the scope to speak with representatives at the state level, which is amazing. Like I say, there's nothing more encouraging than to see the development of something that's been going on for a while and positive growth like that. So not much. I mean, there's I could go on for a long time about how awesome the DC project is and the consequences of it, but we'll move on. So the DC project is the first of the pro gun owners' rights groups that we've got represented this year. The second one, I think we kind of alluded to it earlier, is the Connecticut Citizens Defense League, a state level Second Amendment organization. Last year we had Florida Carry, and this year I wanted to have a state level organization again. So we started to look around, and it's an experience. It's certainly an experience. Last year with Florida Carry, I know everybody in Florida Carry, the people that created it and run it. So I just asked them, I said, hey, do you want some patches? They said yes, and that was all there was to it. This one was not the same. It was a completely different experience, and adding that to my experience with all the other state level organizations I've worked intimately with at this point. And yes, we are definitely working towards a goal there with something. We can only win when our state level organizations have at least a method, if not the ability to communicate with each other. So that's the Connecticut Citizens Defense League. When we had a bunch of choices there, the Connecticut Citizens Defense League sent a whole bunch of people to Washington, D.C. for the rally in November 2nd to last year. And I thought that was pretty cool that they not only had buses and encouraged people to participate in something that was brand new and unknown, but they put their money where their mouth is. They showed up in mass and they facilitated others getting there. That was pretty cool. So above and beyond. And unlike some of the other organizations that are able to perform when the spotlight's on them and the checks are flowing, they're willing to go above and beyond when in the absence of the spotlight and the flow of funding. So also we have a friend, Cycle Camp, who's advocate of the Connecticut Citizens Defense League. So with his whatever, he's a good guy. So if he's willing to spend time on the Connecticut Citizens Defense League, it's obviously a good organization. Then we got Skip's Tactical. She's awesome. She's a mom and active duty Air Force and a firearms instructor and a podcaster. So there's lots of people out there that are doing awesome stuff, and Skips represents them. But in addition to just doing all the kind of stuff that she does, she additionally turns a camera on and shares what she's doing. And that's not easy, necessary, or fun sometimes. And she's literally dealt with some of the negative stuff there. So without getting into it, she's awesome. And we wanted to have her on last year and weren't able. We can only have so many people on. But happy that she was able to jump on. Yeah. And I've had an opportunity to see her instruction, and so many people say they're instructors and may or may not be capable. I don't know, but I've had an opportunity to see Skip, and I'm super impressed. I really like her ability. I'm always impressed, and she's one of the people that keeps me saying this, that what the people in the Air Force seem to be able to do is amazing. I don't know why they get the shaft sometimes, or they get critiqued sometimes, but they're competent. Like, people in the Air Force just got their shit together. Then we get Guns and Gadgets, big Second Amendment advocate, YouTubers grown from zero to heroes, from just a regular channel to 300-something thousand subs, a massive channel, not based on frivolous nothing, but based on awareness of Second Amendment issues. He's got a grasp and a capacity, I guess, to keep track of a lot of different stuff that I don't have the ability to keep track of. He's aware of and monitoring, and what we've unsuccessfully attempted with Every Second Matters and with other projects over the years to get a bunch of people involved, he's able to do single-handedly. He's doing that in a way that encourages people to participate and love him or hate him. He's doing it at a time when it's useful and necessary. So anybody can do something at any time. He happens to be the guy doing it right now. And yeah, so he's a cool dude. Again, there's two big heavy lifters in this project, and he's one of them. He's probably responsible for a majority of the awareness and the funding on this one. And it's awesome to be able to get people together like this, where our resources can combine, just like a giant Voltron. So he's maybe the head or the body of the Voltron, whatever is the most important. I guess that would be a conversation. It's probably the head, or maybe the right arm, because he's could be the weapon. It's hard to say. Maybe him and Liberty are arms. Yeah, he could be the strong arm, and Liberty could be the other arm, or he's the head or the body, and Liberty's the head. I don't know. We'd have to think about how this turns into a Voltron. Then we got Tony from the Diversity Shoot, the Minuteman Challenge, the 2A4E project. So he's in New Jersey.
For everyone.
What?
2A for everyone.
Yep. And being in New Jersey and frustrated with the situation, instead of just shouting at the sky, he started doing something about it. And something like 5 years ago, at this point, he started getting together every other month and bring in new shooters together for an orientation. And if they're interested, a familiarization with shooting firearms. He does that in New Jersey. He's been doing it now for a while. And again, like Skip, he's not the only person doing that. I'm sure there's tons of people doing that, hopefully out there across the country. But he's additionally taking a camera and running a podcast and sharing what he's doing out there. He's one of the others that has been in the project for 2 years now. And he's the only one that hasn't given me his art yet. So he's the only one that we can't see art yet. Let's see. Then we got KD, No Other Choice. He's got all kinds of stuff going on.
We
got the No Other Choices as firearms training. He's the first to tell you, that's the least of his concern. He'll usually focus on his Aiming for the Truth project, where he's doing things at more grassroots level, at community level, giving people interest or equity, awareness of their life equity so that they have something to be interested in defending instead of just going straight after the guns. Not only that, not only the grassroots, like helping people on a one-on-one basis, but he's able to then reach out. And I first became aware of KD as he reached out to the firearms community as a whole in a very effective way, and in a way that was inspiring as well. So definitely a motivator, definitely a facilitator. And another example of that is his Train and Learn event, where last year was the first year he brought together media, Second Amendment media, and educators, firearms instructors, and brought them together for a weekend-long event, which on multiple levels is useful in so many ways for the community, bringing together two disciplines, two areas of interest that have similar skill sets, similar goals and skill sets. So that was awesome, and no one's done that yet. But then doing it over a weekend where you had the opportunity to really interact and have relationships get created and collaborations and stuff start is awesome. Very, very much some of the best elements of the industry events that last multiple days, but intentionally bringing people together for building and usefulness. So KD's a great dude, just a great dude. He's also probably got the coolest patch this year doing his Truth pistol. I guess we didn't even mention he's got his own pistol called the Truth. Everybody can have a pistol. KD's brings light to history. So KD's pistol, everything about it, from you're looking at it to you're talking about it to the name of it to shooting it, you're going to be immersed in the history that it represents. So again, he's just changing the thing. If there's a box, he doesn't even care. He's so far outside the box. It's awesome. So awesome to have people involved like this. Again, his patch is the Truth. It's this H&K pistol that is done up for his project. Then we got Charlie, who just jumped in here. It was difficult because of his internet or his phone connection there, I guess. But Charlie has been a player now for a while. He started out doing some other stuff online, some musical things, and that progressed into doing some musical stuff with guns. And then as he had some I don't know if you call it success or some reach, I guess, with people finding his videos with his music, he was inspired by a radio show host, I think. I can't think of the guy's name, but the radio show host in Minnesota, I think, to drive around and interview Second Amendment gun community people. And he does that in the style of some other show that I've never seen before, but somebody else drives around in a car interviewing somebody. And I guess that style has been done before, but he calls it riding shotgun. And he'll drive around, Charlie will drive around, and he'll be interviewing someone who's sitting in the passenger seat. And they got a couple of cameras. So they really just talk about the projects and the people. And Charlie makes it a little fun, but they don't really focus on a lot of wasted time. It's maybe a half an hour, 40 minutes of listening to the project and hearing the project from the project originator. So you learn so much more about a project when you can hear how a person talks and their interaction with somebody like Charlie. A very useful resource for the community. And again, something that it's not, I'm going to go ahead and say necessary. Projects like Charlie's, at least, are super necessary for us to understand who it is we're dealing with. And there are people out there, again, you can deny this or you can be uncomfortable with it, but there are people out there that are exploiting us, that are feeding off of our community in multiple ways. And you can be indifferent to that. You can say, let everybody do whatever they want. It's a free country. But you can also realize that that's pulling resources, that's pulling funding, that's pulling attention, and that's pulling awareness away from the things that matter. And there's people in this project are doing the opposite. They're bringing the focus and attention to the things that do matter. Seinfeld? Oh, okay. Yeah, see, some on TV. I just don't pay attention. But yeah, I know he was emulating somebody.
Yeah.
Next we get Liberty Doll. I'm going to call. Next we get Liberty Doll, who's more of a libertarian type of project, but she focuses on guns, I'd say maybe 30% or even 40% of the time. She's certainly not afraid of the subject and intentionally brings it up occasionally and when necessary, for sure. But mostly it's just more general liberty type of projects. She'll do produced videos that are a lot of fun. She knows how to make an interesting video and she has fun doing it. They're almost always on something useful. In fact, I don't even think I've seen a frivolous waste of time video. She's almost always on something useful. So you have fun.
She's on point.
Yeah, that's the way to say it. And then she does her live chats on Friday where she brings together just an amazing amount of people, and again, a diverse amount of people, and an occasional focus on firearms. Certainly a focus on firearms in 2A when necessary. So awesome to bring her to the table, and she's good friends with Charlie and Jared. So some of the people on this are having a chance to hang out in different ways, even though they're all aware of each other, friends with each other. So anyway, Liberty Doll is another of the heavy lifters. A girl made most of this happen. She started the whole project with her live stream, which got the project off the ground and made it aware. Again, we talked about earlier, the project is on the Indiegogo platform, and that platform, has some sort of mechanic, some mechanism in place that if a project is sitting there doing nothing, it's not going to get promoted, while a project that has some action may get promoted inside the platform itself. So she had a big part in playing to that end of the project, and the project getting, if you think of it as a kite, she got us off the ground. And then continued to knock it home yesterday with her live chat last night. Brought in thousands of dollars. Well, her fans brought in thousands of dollars, but her talking about it got everybody motivated. So they're awesome, and she's new to the whole game of Tough Online. So I'm super happy she's going to have an opportunity to have some resource to deal with and do with what she wants, and then have the experience of everybody else's have everybody else like whatever their strategies. You got GunTube, we just talked about. It's Mike sitting right here. He is made this video host platform a couple of years back now, and it provides live streaming just like we're on right now. It's a place to post videos or host videos that are on topics gun related and might not be permitted on other larger giant platforms. We've got Walk the Talk. Oh, and that's here in the United States. A lot of places that are online, they're hosting their computers. The nuts and bolts are all taken care of offline, or not offline, off outside the borders. GunTube is all 100% USA. Let's see, we got WTTA, which WTTA is Walk the Talk America. That is an organization that's created a couple of years back only, and from the industry. Mike was part of the industry and grew up in the industry actually, and had a chance conversation with someone at an airport, and that spawned an interest and then some action to create an organization focused on mental health from the industry. And he's done amazing things just in a short time that he's been kicking with WTTA. He's been able to do things with doctors, going in and being, I guess, participating, being part of seminars and lectures and awareness things, so that physicians who may not have known what to ask or may not have understood the implications of certain procedures or diagnosis. He's opened doors as an impartial third party who's aware of what we're doing in firearms, and he's just done amazing things, moving boundaries, and then additionally getting manufacturers who normally would just be doing their thing to start including some cards that talk about the issues that are out there, and including those in each firearm that's sold, for example. So a real life, tangible effect of his participation in this whole thing. And again, as Clover, if you listen to their interview last night, that went live last night for everybody, like Clover was saying, if you've got something that you just see as part of your paperwork when you buy a firearm, you may never need it. You may not need it right now, but 6 months from now, 6 years from now, if something changes or you meet someone that does, you can think, hey, wait a minute, I do have a piece of paper that might be able to help you out. And that's just, again, that's a tangible effort. There's no way that the gun prohibitionists are going to be able to say, you don't care about XYZ, when we're the only ones effectively trying to combat the biggest number. When you look at firearms deaths, the people who actually perish from firearms, a vast majority, 2/3 of that number, tens of thousands of people, 27,000 people out of the 30,000 that get hurt from firearms, 20 to 27,000 of them are suicides. Making people aware of options and giving people opportunity is affecting 27,000 deaths. Going after firearms ownership and persecuting the possession of is barely affecting few lives. So this is something that's actually affecting, it's actually saving lives, I guess, and not just a bunch of chat. You got Clover, who was on earlier. He's a Second Amendment content creator and advocate and more. He's been in the tech game for a long time. He's been a firearms owner his whole life. So the two came together a couple of many years ago now. And he's been efforting to share his experience and offer his assistance on internet stuff. He's also one of the people that's been in the project for 2 years now. And then lastly is Every Second Matters, the awareness campaign that started at the end of 2013. It was a result of the apathy that was created from the initial resistance to the executive actions that were proposed by Obama. So in 2012, something happened, atrocity happened, and in 2013, the knee-jerk, boilerplate reaction from the gun prohibitionists is every time a firearm is in the news for something negative, we blame the gun owner, we blame possession of. And the president, who thought he had a sympathetic Congress, decided to impose 23 executive actions that would undercut Congress and create tyranny and infringements. And no entity, no hashtag, nothing. Just everyone stood up in unity and said no, right? And that happened. If you were around in 2013, you know what I'm talking about. By the end of 2013, that started to dwindle. There was no more blatant, offensive suggestion that they were going to take rights away. They figured out that that was futile. So at the end of 2013, the resistance to that started to die. So some of us who had been chatting like this in live conversations decided that, what can we do to keep an awareness going? We didn't want to add a new organization. We didn't want to create anything. So instead, we just started an awareness campaign, and it developed as about 3 or 4 conversations. You can go listen to those conversations. Most of them are still online. And we just started out with the idea of wearing a t-shirt and then like an open holster, maybe open carrying or doing something. And it turned out to be, why don't we just all do whatever we feel like doing, whatever we're able or interested in doing on the second day of each month. And we'll come together and talk about that if we want. So it's no obligation, it's no procedure, it's do whatever you feel like on the second, just using the second as a tool to remember that the seconds matter, the Second Amendments matter. Each state has a constitution, and all but 9 of those state constitutions have their own version of a Second Amendment. Some clause that states that firearms are important and off limits from the government control. And then, of course, we have our Second Amendment in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. So using the second day of each month to remember that is the whole point. Every Second Matters is a website. It costs very little to run. It's taken care of by the sale of the patches. And that's all there is. There's the buying the patches and there's running the website. That's all there is for Every Second Matters as far as cost. So these patches that'll get made as part of this project will go over to a place called Beacon Group here in Arizona. And we send the patches over there. Whenever you purchase one, there's people at Beacon Group will, let's see, under here. It's probably under shipping. So I have to remember where it is that we, shipping FAQ. There we go. So that's what the Beacon Group looks like. And that's what the Every Second Matters patches look like over there. When you order one, somebody at Beacon Group will take it off the shelf and they'll ship it to you. Of whatever it costs to buy a patch over there, most of the money is staying with Beacon Group. They employ, they hire differently abled, so they keep the money. So Every Second Matters is that. It's an awareness campaign and there's no money being made. It's just a campaign. So that's the last of the projects. That's the 12 participants in the patch badge this year. And I see that we've been chatting over here, so I'm going to go over and address whatever's been going on. I just didn't want to cut off in the middle of the explanation of all those all the participants. So let's see, you're saying 161,000 subs. How do you only have a dozen people watching a live stream? It seems like low attendance. Yeah, it's because I'm not doing the stuff that would be necessary to attract hordes of fans, right? There's nothing going on here. We're not giving nothing away. Kind of talking about boring stuff, nuts and bolts, how you run a channel, and the nuts and bolts of this particular project. But I don't do almost anything interesting over here. So I gained most of my subs before 2013. I probably was at 100 something subs, 100,000. I got my 100,000 subs in 2014. So I must have been, I don't know. I was one of the larger YouTube channels. I was the largest YouTube channel under Nothing Fancy for years until Hickok shot a pumpkin, and then he got larger than me. And soon after, we were talking about the Obama's 23 executive actions. Right around that time, I joined a YouTube network, which is the worst possible thing I could have done. And well, I guess it was the worst possible thing I could have done for making money, but it was eye-opening. So at that point, I quit using YouTube as money-making, like money-generating entity, and started doing other things again off YouTube. And then in 2015, I went to the Gun Rights Policy Conference and gave up on doing gun reviews. So I got my 160,000 subs, or I gained those subs. It was actually 167,000 when it started. If you go over and look at our YouTube channel, I think we're allowed to show our YouTube channels now. I usually lose somewhere between, it used to be 100 subs a day or something like that. So if I go over to the analytics here, I lose something like 100 subs a day. It used to be closer to 200 subs a day. So I had 160,000 subs on this channel, and now it's quite less because I don't do anything to entertain them. It's not my goal anymore. So it is unusual, but it's not unexplainable. It's just because I don't effort towards that anymore. Notifications. I don't know about the notifications. That's probably some mechanics inside YouTube that I'm not familiar with. I could be or whatever that's called, shadow banned or something.
Shadow banned, yeah.
I don't turn on my notifications either. So if there's something on my channel that needs to have, I don't focus on that. So if I needed to do something on my channel to turn on alerts, I've never done that. So, And it could just be that YouTube's busy today, I guess. Yeah. Planet is running off. Right on. Let's see.
Later, Planet.
Project Appleseed. I don't know what Revere's Riders is. Maybe organizations to check with in the future. So Appleseed's interesting. I like their concept and stuff. I'm not sure if they have a patch or not. If they don't, then yeah. And then I don't know what Revere's Riders. Revere. I'm trying to say that wrong.
Revere's Riders.
Yeah, but I never heard what that is. So I'm going to look. Whoa, why does our website take so long? All right, I like everything about it so far. Let's see. First, I'm going to look at their website.
About us.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. It's all info. It's all decent. Indiana. Oh, okay.
All right. About us. Revere's Riders is a 501c3 nonprofit affiliated with the CMP, National Rifle Association, and NV Firearms Coalition. All right. They have over 100 volunteers across the nation who actively promote traditional marksmanship, American history, and civic engagement. You can learn more about our governance, membership information, or sponsors at the above links. So that's what they do.
100 volunteers across the nation who promote traditional marksmanship. So it's sort of like Appleseed, it sounds like, with the history and stuff.
But I do like that they are affiliated with the CMP.
Well, that doesn't mean nothing. That just means affiliated with them. But what they do, like, big deal. An organization exists. It sounds like what they do is have events.
Yeah.
And then those are what happen at the events or whatever.
If they haven't been canceled by the pandemic.
So let's see. There's the program overview. It's a branch of whatever the focus is. Okay, so this is a part of it that focuses on history. We believe the importance of history makes up our shared heritage. Our history goals, promote awareness, cultivate. Yeah, so this is the kind of stuff that, unfortunately, if there's school ain't going to teach it, where you're going to learn it, right? And having it available for people that are seeking it out is pretty awesome. And stuff like this that nobody thinks about. They go like, oh, women should be involved in firearms. Like, okay. Never heard of like everything that's ever happened in all of history. Like chicks have shot guns since guns have been around. Like the first gun got built, and I'm sure the guy's daughter or his wife walked in, and a chick was like probably the second person to pull the trigger, right? So, yeah, I like the idea of having history made available for those that are seeking it out. But no, it's the first time I heard of it, so I'll check it out. We have something over on the Minuteman University project. One of the projects we work on is to make people aware, right? Give them some resources, I should say, give them some resources and develop their skills to be a better, more effective Second Amendment communicator. So when we get to gun rights groups, I try to keep track of the groups that are focused on Second Amendment and where they fit into everything. So we'll definitely be adding this. We'll definitely be adding, I guess I closed it, be adding that Revere's Raiders to it. Do we know when they started? Is it 2015? Appleseed's 2006. That's a whole different project. They offer history classes without the shooting bit. Right on. Same concept, but they offer handguns. He's saying same concept as Appleseed, probably. Appleseed is just rifles. Okay, I guess I should read these in order. Let's see. Hipcock Shot a Pumpkin. Hipcock Shot a Pumpkin went on national news and then became a big channel. So yeah, that's how that happened back in 12, I think. 13. Art, entertainment, more learning, right on. So Revere is a spin-off from that. It was Dissension, many Midwest instructors. Okay. Cool. Yeah, and I'm not affiliated with Appleseed, so I don't care if they split off, I guess. On the other hand, I like to see organizations grow, but you can't make people love each other if they're going to hate each other and split. It's better than hating each other and not doing anything anymore. I guess. I mean, that's always the best. All right, well, so now we're, how many hours in? We're just hitting the 3-hour mark. I don't know if anybody else is going to join in because I told them I would be live until 6 p.m. So I guess that's an excuse for me to jump off here. Night Strike's not saying nothing, so I'm having to run this whole thing myself. That's all right. I'll just only send you nine patches now.
Oh, come on.
So
that's harsh. That's harsh.
I don't think I've got enough money. We don't have enough money to send everybody every single patch anymore. All right, well, I guess we'll start at wrapping it up then. We've had some participation, which has been awesome. And like I keep saying, we did not send this out and have give everybody a calligraphied invitation and ask them to save the date. We just throw these things up here. This was unnecessary. We've already reached the goal, but an opportunity for everybody to get together and chat a little bit.
Yep. I'm glad it got funded.
It's better to be funded than not be funded, I guess. Yeah. It's more work for me now. I got to go do stuff. I could have just, if it would have not been funded, then I could have just done something else.
Oh, you have to actually put forth effort now. Boo hoo hoo.
I could have taken a vacation.
You could have taken a vacation. Yeah.
Oh, that was him. So, wonder how we did that on the phone. Does it give you, the duck must give you a way to chat on the phone better than YouTube did.
I don't know. I'm not.
I wish I had $5. If I had $5 for everybody who told me that now that their kids graduated from high school, that now they can start doing stuff, I'd have like $200 probably. It never happened.
That's about right. $200 sounds about right.
You can make it happen, but you got to really, really make it happen. Most of the time, you end up filling that time with other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, so thanks for filling some of your Saturdays with us. We will wrap it up at this point. Check out the project if you can. Still share it if you would. Stay tuned. I did ask the manufacturers to send us some rubber samples like ASAP so that we could show them to people before it ends. I can't guarantee nothing. It's just a request. It's a very unusual request too, so it's not a guarantee or nothing, but you may see some rubber before the end of the campaign. Who knows? If you can spread the word around, that's awesome. And till then, I guess wait for patches in the mail. We'll be doing some things after the campaign in order to keep people aware of each other and give us an excuse to chat or whatever. But we'll talk about things like the follow-up, what it's like, what they're going to be doing with these resources, these patches that they're going to get. The worst thing, the thing I hope they don't do is just sell them for $5 or something. And they're going to make $500 and nothing. The best thing I think to do would be something that inspires or encourages, right? Something that gets people motivated. So there's all kinds of ways to do that, and we'll be chatting about some of those in conversations. And as we see the different rubber samples and stuff, it'll just give us more stuff to chat about. And with that, I think we'll wrap it up. So thanks for watching. We'll be back to pick you up later.
Yep. See you later, everyone.